4 hours and 17 minutes.
You memorized that?
That's got to
And
be
I
a
didn't-
personal best for us.
I did not listen to 1 minute of it.
Have you tried double speed?
Some leader you are.
And think about it. I drove over 5,000 miles on this last trip, and I did not listen to 1 minute of that. And in 4 hours, even at double speed, which I do listen to most of my podcasts on at 1.75 or double speed, that's still 2 hours and 6.5 minutes of my time that I have to listen to.
No, it's 8.5. That would be the best 2
8.5
hours and 8.5 minutes of your life if you listen to that stuff. Just telling, it's just an objective fact,
And there was a lot of juicy content in that. Just saying.
I might go consume it. If you guys haven't watched Max and Will's recap of the 2025 Worlds, go check it out. Also, before we get this, I want to say big kudos to you, Max. Sorry, not Max. You, Will. Your vlog is very good. It's been well received. It's got lots of views. Congratulations. Keep it up. And, it wasn't 4 hours and 17 minutes long.
Yeah, it was about a fifth. It was about a fifth of that podcast, but it was honestly the shortest I can make it. But at least it was a video, so there was a lot more to it than me and Max talking crap for 4 hours and a bit.
It was good. Go check it out. It's on the YouTube channel of the NNRC. You know what? Let's hit that intro. We got a lot to talk about. We haven't been together for a while, and it's good to see you guys. I'm just going to drop that intro. So Max will go on his tangents.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right. And let's get back to more club racing and less of this racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to show number 339 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, and joining me virtually are my other hosts. We have Will Venables, aka the chairman of 10 Scale, and we have Max Moore, dictator of, you know what? He is the dictator of this show. I'm convinced. And you know what I am? I'm Max's Huckleberry.
I still got some way to go on my mustache. I could do one of the dictators like this, but I want to go for a more
The Kim Jong-un look.
side dictatorship.
I want to see your mustache curl up like that, and then maybe when you're like 10 years from now, your mustache is going to be like halfway down to your stomach. But welcome back, boys. It's good to see you guys. It's been a while. I've been on the road. You guys have been busy. We're going to talk about all of that. We're just kind of having a catch up, looking at some RC news this week and talking about some things that are going on and what we've been up to. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody out there. A big shout out to the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do this without you guys. Big thing. While I was on the road, we hit 8,000 subs finally, Max. Actually, we're closer to 8,200. So next goal, 10,000 subs. So if you guys can hit that like, sub, and notification button, even if you're listening to this on the audio only side of things, come on over and do that. We'd love to get to 10,000 subs by this time next year or earlier.
End of the year.
I would love to get to 9,500 subs by the end of the year. or I mean, sorry, to 8,500 subs by the end of the year. But let's get to. I mean, we got to get to 9,000, then we get to 10,000. But we're about 1,800 away from 10,000.
Exponential growth, dude.
We need it.
That's
we
what
need
we
it.
want. Yeah.
We need it. We have 30,000 followers on Facebook and 50,000 followers on Instagram. We need to be bumping up those YouTube numbers, but we do appreciate it. Thank you guys. Don't forget to hit that like notification button. If you like what we're doing here as well, want to support the podcast a little extra, you become a YouTube member or a Patreon. Links for that in the written description. You get early access. And I'll be doing a Patreon only and YouTube only live at some point next week. Also, a big shout out to these companies that support us, that advertise with the podcast. If you're interested in advertising with us or sponsoring us next year, hit us up. We are looking for some sponsors and companies to make this all happen. They are JConcepts, Hitec RCD, Sidewinder Fuels, Latera Racing, Invisible Speed, ML Toys, Dollar Hobbies, Side Piece Racing, Get Shit Done Coffee, Place of Home of the Hustle Raceway, Elite RC Productions, RC Project, Mayako, Tekno RC, Beach RC, Clinic RC, Racecraft USA, and Fly Sky. Shout out to our drivers, David Ronafalt, Robert Battier, Alexander Hagberg, Matty G, Pekko Evening, you know how Mason Fuller, and Bada Bing Bada Boom, who says he doesn't like it, but he's got it, and people don't like it.
I knew he wouldn't like it.
Davey Bada. He wants his nickname apparently is Butter, because he drives so smooth like butter. But I said that doesn't roll off the tongue the same way. You know the Bada Bing Bada Boom.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I do accept that he likes the butter better, but I think everybody will remember Bada Bing Bada Boom. You know?
There we go.
I don't even know
and
where
also-
that catchphrase is from. Maybe I'm too young to know this.
Actually,
yeah, me neither. To be
Pekko
honest, I just
kind
know
of
it.
Pekko came up with it though. Pekko, like Bada Bing Bada Boom. Speaking of Pekko, he's still in China. He's on onward stuff right now. You know what we got to talk about? We forgot about the two races they had over in China as well, at the GDC and at the SIGP. All right. Welcome back, guys. Good to have you guys back. We greatly appreciate it. I guess we're going to go right into our catch up and see what we've been up to. And that is brought to you by JConcepts. Thank you, JConcepts, for all the support. All right. A big thank you to Jason Wren and everybody there at JConcepts. They sponsor this podcast. They also sponsor Will's recent and most recent vlogs from the Euros as well as the Worlds. Go check them out. Both on this channel did a very good job. But topics of this podcast, we got some RC news to go over. It's been a long break between the last time we did this. I am going to start doing a live a week, coffee and RC with Lefty and whatnot. I'll probably do one. I don't know which day I'm going to do this. I'm deciding between Monday and Fridays, but we'll see. And then we have the IFMAR AGM. Max needs to get everything off his chest. He kind of was messaging me and ranting and raving about this while I was on the road. So, yeah, it should be interesting. But first, I kind of want to catch up with you guys. What's been going on? So, obviously, I talked about this a lot on my live. I've been on the road. I was on the road for 6 weeks, my longest stint. But we'll talk a little bit about that afterwards. I just kind of want to catch up with. We'll start with Will. Will, I see you've been racing. We went to the Will Speed GP. How's the feedback been on your vlog? Tell us what's up with the chairman.
Well, it's been weird. I actually been home for like a long period of time. The whole of this summer, I was basically away multiple times a month. I was always at the Euros, racing, and then some of them I was there filming with RCTV. Then went to the Worlds, which is like that's like feels like yonks ago now. But yeah, it's like the longest time I've like been at home now, so it's kind of been weird just not traveling and actually being in my bed. But yeah, made the vlog that kind of finally got released, and it's been pretty good feedback so far. It's probably been my best vlog, and I put a lot of time into trying to make it as good as possible. So I think a lot of people liking it. Is really cool. I think it's a really cool perspective because I don't think anyone's ever really vlogged the Worlds, and with everything else I did there. So pretty cool with that. But now I'm at home. It's all like the indoor carpet season now at 10 scale. So went to the Will Speed GP last weekend. So huge thanks to Will for the invite to go there. That was a really cool event. And yeah, looking forward to go again, hopefully next year. But like it's a really weird track in a good way. Like the rostrum kind of reminds me of the Hoodie Arena where you're really high. You kind of feel like a hawk, like kind of looking down on a track. But instead of the track kind of being horizontal, it's kind of vertical. So you have some challenges where at the back end of the track like gets really kind of thin from like a depth perception perspective. So to find your lines pretty challenging. But it's a unique track and it's pretty good. But yeah, other than that, kind of having a bit more of a chill end of the year. We've got like a load of events in the beginning of next year, like MKGP, EOS, and we have the BRCA Masters. So yeah, it's going to be busy, but yeah, it's been good. Been good to be home, to be honest, more than anything. So, and then also, I know I've said thanks loads, but a huge thanks to JC for the help with the vlog and everything. So yeah, huge thanks to those guys, and yeah, guess I'll leave it to Max for his side.
Yeah. I don't know even what I'd be doing. I've been kind of doing everything. School, a little bit of work, but that's now done for the year. And then a whole bunch of meetings, Every freaking weekend is another meeting of some sort, because you must have this with the organizations, I don't know. I don't really have much to tell. Nothing's been happening.
Well, you're kind of having some life-changing things going on here in the new year. You are moving to France for 6 months for school, like in an exchange. And that's going to be interesting. You're talking about going to Montpellier and all that type of stuff, which should be good. When you say meetings, are these your environmental stuff meetings? Or I know you went to the AGM. Is it, you haven't been having much meetings with us because we could barely get you to talk to us on the chat.
RC and political stuff.
Oh, right. Yes. He's all into politics right now.
Yeah.
Well, you was going to say something, Will? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, Max, are you like part of IFMAR now in some capacity? Because I didn't even know this. Like, I saw you on stage AGM, but I never like really asked. Were you there for just?
No. No, I'm not part of IFMAR in any capacity. I was at AGM representing Finland because the guy who is our sort of IFMAR representative, he had some other business trip or something he couldn't get away from, so they sent me instead, which was interesting. I was like, well, sure, I'll go. I didn't have high hopes, but even those low hopes got crushed quite quickly. So, yeah, more about that later on in the show. Yeah, if anyone read my post on Facebooks about it, they will for sure know my attitude.
Well, we're going to talk about that, the AGM as well. So it should be good. I'm listening. I'm very eager to. I saw your messages. I don't understand them all, so you can probably explain it to me a little bit better. But I look forward to talking to you about that. As for me, traveling with the Elite RC Productions crew for 6 weeks. My trip started in Oklahoma at Shaw's. Truck Nuts, had a wonderful time there. Beautiful, beautiful track. Beautiful. Joey built a good design. Beautiful facility. Shout out to Robert Shaw. Shout out to all the Texas racers that showed me a lot of love as well. Big shout out to Sam Noble and her son Justin, who built me. You can't really see it, but it's my monster truck here that I raced, and a crawler. Awesome people, dude. That guy Max, Justin, if you met him, you would talk to him. He likes you. He's one of the few people that like you. He really enjoys you. So he watches the podcast a lot. This guy has every single Kyosho vehicle that has wheels, except one. And he says it's like holy grail that's trying to get. But he is a big Kyosho fan. Plethora of knowledge. He lived in China for a while, so he got, the guy's like, I sat there and talked to him for hours about RC, and just very knowledgeable, very smart, just awesome dude. I thanked them for the gifts of the cars. Then I got to go to Hoosier, which was fun. First race there at Hoosier, participated. And I can see why slashes should be the entry class for many people because they're freaking durable. We got brand new slashes. We did a 2-hour enduro race on it between a 3-man team. It was fun. Lots of fun. Then we went to Masters of Dirt at Hobby Action. First time going to Hobby Action for the first time. Got to meet Larry Tom. Beautiful facility in a beautiful area. Like, really nice area. I really enjoyed Phoenix. It was good temperatures. It wasn't hot. I went to my first basketball game ever. That was fun. And then, of course, we went to Florida RC Championships down at Mills Point, which I participated in. As a upcoming e-truggist, these type of races are what you cut your teeth on. It's an absolutely blown out track down there, but that Tekno 2.0 e-truggy powered by Reds of JConcepts rubber did very well and handled the rough, and I embraced the cushion. It was fun. And then obviously we went to AMS, Alabama Manufacturer Shootout, which is the longest of these races in terms of being at the race and being at the track. And then the final race was the Florida Carpet Championships. We'll probably touch on Alabama and FCC mostly because that's the two biggest races that I went to. And then home, and it was a great time on the road. My longest stint being on the road, by the way. It was 5 weeks. I beat that by 1 week, and I probably could have stayed in the USA right up until Fall Brawl here coming up in 2 weeks' time. But man, I had to come home. Like I miss my house, I miss my family, I miss my dog, I miss my bed, I miss my toilet, I miss all that stuff. But I had a great time. It was mostly myself, Danny Paz, and Lance on the road. Gene Strout Jr. joined us for like 3 weeks of that. It was good. I had a lot of fun. I met new people, met new genre, like new people in different areas of RC. Got to go to some cool new tracks, got to see some new tracks, got to see some cool racing. Was just in the RC life for 6 weeks. But I will tell you, as I'm getting close to 50 now, that stuff's getting harder and harder to recuperate from. And it's like, go, 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 go. We also got stranded on the side of the road for 2 days, by the way. So I can honestly see.
What?
Yeah. So
how?
Like in the middle of a desert, or?
Well, it was in the middle of Arkansas. It was in the middle. We got stuck at a truck, like at a rest stop. But it wasn't one of those nice rest stops that have nice bathrooms and vending machines. It was a rest stop with porta potties. But luckily, we had the camper, right? We had a camper. So I'll tell you really quick. I'll tell you that story. I told it in the live. Basically, when we left Shaw's, which was the first one, we made it to Little Rock, Arkansas the first night. And then when we left Little Rock, no, sorry, I apologize. I think the next day we got on the road. Lance was like, man, why is my truck? I just filled up. Like, do I smell diesel? Like, he's like, I smell diesel. It's like, I don't smell nothing. And anyway, like we saw the fuel gauge just going on and on too fast. I was like, all right, so this truck had a fuel leak. So we stopped, get gas. And then when we opened up the hood, it was just diesel spraying everywhere. So it like on his truck, he has a Dodge. It's a metal fuel line, steel high pressure fuel line that broke. And dude, just dumped 20 gallons of fuel all over everything. Like all underneath the truck, all underneath the camper was covered in fuel. I mean, good waterproof, rust proofing and keeping things clean. But dude, it was crazy. So we had a mechanic come fix it, but it broke right away. And then we actually drove from the gas station and we got about 3 miles down and we noticed it was broken again. And we pulled over and basically was stuck there for 2 days. but the internet wasn't that great. We had the generator. The mechanic tried to fix it again the next day. It didn't work. And the piece for it actually has to be specially ordered, and it got sent to Hoosier. In the end of the day, we ended up getting another vehicle. Well, not me. Sorry. I say we because we was all involved in it. But Lance was looking for another vehicle anyway, a bigger truck to pull everything, because usually at these races, we would take two, like the trailer and the camper. But he's looking for the right truck. He knew what he wanted, and he was looking for that. And he ended up forcing his hand. He had to buy another vehicle, not brand new, but he bought another vehicle, bigger truck. That got delivered to us, and then we ripped grass and hauled ass to Hoosier. And then came back to Arkansas, picked up the truck because he got the part in Hoosier, sent it to the mechanic in Arkansas, picked that truck up. Then we drove out to Arizona, then drove all the way back to Florida. Then we got to Lance's house, which is North Florida. Then it was a 6.5-hour drive down to Mills Pond. Dude, I didn't go. We were going. I think the easiest race of all of them was Masters. Like, we kind of relaxed a little bit at Masters. We finished early on Saturday. Life on the road. Yeah, what you guys do on the road? It must be so exciting. It is. We finished up early on Masters Day, right? No, sorry. We finished up early on INS Day on Saturday. And you know what we did? We did the exciting thing of going out and washing our clothes. That was the highlight of that Saturday evening, and Mongolian grill. But yeah, it was a good time on the road. Lots of big races. Met lots of people, had lots of fun, raced 3 times. So I was happy about that. Really enjoying racing and having fun and talking smack in the pits and doing stuff like that. So it was fun. And thank you to everybody, each one of the track that I went to, everybody that came up and showed us some love. I appreciate it, man. And thank you to Lance and the Elite RC Productions crew. I had a great time with them. Always do. I wish them more luck. They got 2 more races left this year. And I'm not going to be there, but I could have been there. But I need time home too. Obviously, we're going into 2026, so we're preparing for that on the podcast side of things. But I'm back in the States. I go back again in January for some races. So busy times, but I'm happy to be home. Happy to be home, and it was fun, and I got to race. That was like, I don't get to do that much, but I did get to race quite a lot this year. And when I mean a lot, like 5 times, I think. So I think 2025 was successful.
Yeah, I was not expecting that story, but all right. Things do happen.
So
you didn't say anything in our group.
Story. Yeah.
Dude, so
that's like a JQ story.
I imagine how I can see how people who probably have no family or nothing like that get stuck in little towns in the USA. Because literally, we was on the side of the road. We had no way to go get fuel. We had no way to go do nothing. We just were stuck. Luckily, we had a camper. We had food. The mechanic bought us some fuel for the generator because we didn't fill up the gas tank, so we wasn't expecting to use the generator. And then a former racer or fellow racer was about an hour away, and he bought us some fuel too. So thank you to them. But yeah, got stuck for 48 hours, I think it was, on the side of the road. Luckily, the camper was in good shape. Luckily, the black tank on the camper was not full. Because me and porta potties don't get along too good, unless it's a handicap porta potty. So there we go. That was my exciting trip.
Yeah, that part of the information I did not know, but that's fine for me.
All right. Well,
TMI.
I think that's enough of a catch up. Let's get into some of the topics of this podcast. We'll start with RC news. And that is brought to you by Hitec RC. Are you looking for top-tier performance and reliability in your RC setup? Hitec RC has you covered with industry-leading chargers and service. They just dropped that RD1600 with its stand. That looks great. That looks like an awesome charger. Check it out. They're having a Black Friday sale as well. A lot of their products you can buy directly from them at hitecrcd.com. Also, let them know you heard about them on the No Name RC podcast. Check them out for all your servo and charging needs for your RC stuff. They have everything for your air and land surface applications and water, because I have some waterproof ones for my boats. Thank you, Hitec. Powering passion, elevating performance. Visit hitecrcd.com today and take advantage of those Black Friday sales, because we're actually recording this on Thanksgiving Day. So happy Thanksgiving to all of our American friends out there. So Black Friday after this. I don't know. This would be after Black Friday when it comes out. All right. So let's get into this. Max. Here we go. Max starts us out coming out of the gate with, you know what, Max? Being as this irritated you so much, the Oscar Piastri started a fucking craze, Max says her. So go ahead, Max. Tell us about the helmet gate.
So Piastri basically released this video where he was like, hey, I used to race RC. This is what my car looked like. And we have it here on screen. Basically, it's his F1 helmet is painted in the same colors as his car from, I don't even know when this was from, like 2000 something. So yeah, this was like the big news. Everybody was sharing it. Everybody was like, whoa, RC's in mainstream, blah blah blah. And then unfortunately, well, I mean, at the beginning it was fine. There was someone who posted like an AI, like basically they took their RC body shell and then put it to an AI, some app, and they made.
I think it was Simon
a
Lauder.
helmet.
As far as I'm
Simon
aware, I
Lauder,
think
yeah.
it was Simon
Yeah.
Lauder that started it.
So, okay, cool idea, funny, and so on. But then the first few ones were cool because people were like kind of original about it, you know. And then Ongaro, for example, had a real helmet that was painted in his colors, and some other drivers also had a real helmet that was painted in their colors, which was cool, you know, really cool stuff. They could sort of go with the Piastri thing. And then after 2 or 3 days, everyone who has ever owned an RC car and painted a body for it had posted an AI picture of their body shells. And it was funny because they had all the sponsor stickers on the AI helmet. And it was like, because AI doesn't know how to write, it was all misspelled. So it was like XK and all these like silly names of the brands. And every single post on my Facebook was that. So I kind of lost my shit. But back to the idea itself, I think it was really cool. It's a big push and one of the biggest, like I think, things we've had this year, or trends within RC that kind of reached outside of it. But to be honest, I think the only people who were really interested in this was people who were in RC. Like it's not like it was a very famous, like viral post of Piastri. So it's kind of like we was excited about it. But all in all, very cool. I liked it, and I don't know why Piastri is so like interested in displaying that he used to drive RC. But I don't really care. I think it's really cool, nonetheless.
Yeah, I think it's some exposure for us. I saw the video. I didn't realize he was from Australia. I'm sorry, I don't follow F1 that much. I watch it once in a while. I like it, but I'm not a follower of it, right? But I think it's cool. I mean, I think it's great. I thought it was fun. My timeline too was flooded with helmets, and I wanted to do one, but I don't actually have a freaking paint scheme. In fact, my paint scheme, I got another funny story to tell you, is a replica of Adam Drake's paint. Like complete.
So it's basically just Adam Drake.
Yes. And that started from basically I wanted a body painted, a 10 scale truck body painted for my Adam Drake 2, like a replica of his, and then the painter painted it just like that. The guys did a favor for me. But here's the kicker. I then paid for a body to be painted, and then the painter painted it the same design, same colors, everything. So now I have 2 Adam Drake bodies. And I asked Adam Drake, I said, would you like a replica Adam Drake body for Tekno at AMS? And they said, what do you? I said, look, Thank you, Evanville. It's a beautiful body, but I wanted different colors. I know what really triggered you, Max. This is what really triggered Max. This is where the environmental activist part of Max comes out. Max detests AI because he says it's bad for the environment because every time you use AI, it uses a gallon of water.
Yeah, and well, that is one thing, but the main reason I hate AI because it's so dumb. It's not like it's just stupid. It's for nothing. Like you've seen all those videos of the AI videos basically. It's just like slop. It's like stupid things. It's not really giving anything useful.
Okay. All right.
That's my
at the
biggest
very
beef.
beginning though. It's at the very beginning though, isn't it? Like of where it is now. Like some people's like I still think it's early days, but some people like copywriters now they're kind of like done, for example, because AI can do it. But
Yeah.
so like
yeah.
I mean, I definitely agree. Like for someone, I used to like actually work on film and TV. So like when I see this AI stuff, I'm like, oh, like, it looks so jank. But it is slowly getting better. But I see where you're coming from. Like,
Trust me.
I hope it doesn't take people's jobs away. But it might be the way.
It's nothing to do with that. It's all about the water being consumed. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I
No,
tell you.
that is my issue. Because, for example, here in the university, there's a lot of like teachers and students who use AI, but they don't know how to use it. So they just basically they don't know how to prompt it, use it to actual advantage, and then they just basically just copy paste what the AI says. So yeah, it's completely dumb.
Trust me.
People think it's this amazing thing, but it's not. It's really not.
Will, what did you think of the helmet? Where was yours, Will? Did you do one?
I almost did one. I honestly got really close, but I gave it a thought and I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. But I think like it's good PR, especially for us RC guys. Like I think like whenever we see like Hamilton when he posts about him racing, or in this case Oscar, I think it's like a chance for our like industry, sport, hobby, whatever you want to call it, to get some exposure out there. Especially when it's like I know RC TV News, they did a segment on it. So like the kind of good thing with RC TV News, and I mean RC TV is like they do like kind of make their content kind of for like general people as well, not just hardcore RC guys. So I think like the way they did it was kind of good. I think like they say, any PR is good PR.
I agree with you.
Even though like it probably did Max's head and seeing it everywhere. Like I think it was pretty good.
My dream is to how do we get these F1 guys to come, or these celebrities to race again? I think we need to have a celebrity race. That would be fun.
Yeah, but I mean their schedule is so full. I don't.
I agree with you. Their schedule is so full.
Actually, one thing I do want to say, probably no Americans have seen of this because it's all in Italian. But in the Italian scene, Kimi Antonelli has been driving 8-scale on road on multiple occasions.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah,
I know.
He's the
Mercedes driver.
Mercedes F1 driver.
I didn't realize Kimi actually raced 8 RC. I thought it was only really like, well, I know Lewis Hamilton's brother, Nicholas. He actually races every now and then at Hearts, if anyone or the UK guys will know. But like, and I thought only Oscar. But then like some of the Alpine drivers, I remember like
Ocon.
Ocon.
He was into RC as well.
Yeah, because I know the Kyosho designer like goes to Suzuka every year to kind of like give them an MP9 or MP11 or whatever it is. Yeah, and they like do some PR stuff with it. So
yeah,
well,
yeah, but they like the Infinity guys, like they or some guy who had an Infinity car. I don't know if it was the Infinity guys per se, but they basically painted a body that looked like the Mercedes, and then there was like I think there's even a video of Kimi driving the car. So he wasn't bad too. He actually could drive, and they went on a real track in Italy.
On the USA side of things, we had obviously Kurt Busch. I was telling you guys earlier, who's NASCAR champion, retired. He's racing off-road. He raced the vintage race, which was really big, that they had there. He's been racing for a while. I think Hobby Action is his home track. He lives in Vegas, but he spends a lot of time in Phoenix. So he was at Masters of Dirt. And I think these guys just kind of want to it's their hobby, right? He's trying to enjoy racing again. So it's like you don't want to bother them. You gotta just want to let them enjoy their racing and have fun, because that's what they're there to do, enjoy themselves, just like you and me. And I think he just enjoys being one of the guys talking smack, and he races quite a lot apparently at Hobby Action.
Yeah, I
So
heard
that's cool.
also that back in the day, didn't like Scott Speed have an RC track himself,
He
or
did.
his brother
in
or
North
something?
Carolina.
Wasn't it Speed RC?
Yep.
I remember
Yeah,
T-Bell was
yeah.
pretty close with him.
Yeah. And
Yeah, so in America, it's been maybe because there's more like different ranges of motorsport, and all of them are like national. For example, like I think Malcolm Stewart and
he used to race
Hansen,
at
they both went to
OCRC.
they went to
Christopher
RC.
Craig, 72 what's his name? 727. The 7 Deuce Deuce, they used to call him 722. Oh, he was a racer, but maybe not to the caliber of those guys, but he was a popular figure. He used to rap and all that stuff. He used to do the raps and all that stuff. I actually had his number and was talking to him about coming on the podcast, but I forgot his name.
Yeah,
I don't think he races anymore.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
There's multiple.
It's cool.
People.
But I think at the end of the day, these like you said, these celebrities have such a busy schedule, and maybe they just want to come and enjoy themselves and not be bothered by people. So that's what it seems like. But I still, like you said, any publicity is good publicity. And hey, I would love to see Oscar Piastri race again, because he seems to be pretty decent. So, and Kurt Busch wasn't bad either. I mean, he was racing stadium truck and 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive. And I told him, I said, dude, you got to race some Nitro. And he's like, I would, but then I probably wouldn't have a girlfriend after that. So, we'll see. Maybe we'll see some. I think it's cool. All right. So you have some releases of cars up here next. You have the X-Ray release their new line of cars. I don't know if I don't see no pictures here. Sorry, Max. Maybe bring them up.
Yeah, and I didn't want to bring up any pictures because most of it was the same. An interesting factor was that on the touring car, they kind of went backwards. So when they came up with this, they first came up with X4, and then they came up with this is brand new X4, much improved and blah, blah, blah. And yes, Bruno did end up winning the world championship with that car, but there was also a lot of talk about the general drivers not liking it. Hagberg and Ronnefog at TITC, they absolutely sucked ass. So there was issues with that car. So they kind of now went backwards. So they have the shocks outboard of the car, both in front and rear. For the arms, they still have some of their style, but it's more closer to other brands. And other than that, it's pretty similar. But I think what they did was they realized that they went a bit too far, and now they've sort of accepted to run a very similar car to the other brands. The arms are still sort of the X-ray molded carbon, so like carbon and then molded plastic over. But it's more, how would I say, it's more carbon than plastic, where before it was kind of a plastic arm with a carbon stiffener. Now it's a carbon arm with plastic like pieces. So it's a bit different, but yeah, on the 10 scale side of things, they released their new cars, and there was no difference like worth mentioning. They fine-tuned stuff and they changed some minor things, but it's mostly the same car in both 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. I have not seen new 8-scale buggies yet, so that's still to come from X-Ray. The only thing good about X-Ray is they kind of release new cars every year, so they update it very regularly. Whereas other brands, it's kind of, you have to guess when the new car comes.
Yeah, I saw that X-Ray dropped their new touring car. Obviously, Max, you're more of science nerd than me. I don't know the difference between them. But what really caught my attention about that was JQ. I assume it was JQ. Of course, it was JQ. Made a post on the Invisible Speed saying, we're going to talk about this. Well, basically, it was on the Martin Hootie's thank you letter to like everybody, right? And then JQ had something to say about it. Now, my question is JQ upset Because you said you said there weren't much changes in the car. Now, is JQ upset about them not heeding his advice, or is JQ upset about not getting thanked for helping develop this new platform? Because I know JQ has been helping out, been working close with Hagberg. Obviously, they did the Invisible Speed, online course and whatnot. He's worked with Runafault. He's worked with a lot of these guys on On-Road. He's over there in China doing, I know Pecco's over there in China doing On-Road now, and I know JQ is over there as well. So maybe you can shed a little bit of light on it, because I haven't had a chance to ask anybody about it, Max.
Well, obviously, I don't know necessarily what Joseph's point of view was on the post, but my sort of assumption was that they didn't even mention him by a word. And so it's kind of a long story. I'll try to be quick with it. Basically, Joseph got interested in touring cars through Invisible Speed. He made friends with Hagberg and so on, but he's not the biggest fan of X-Ray. Has never been the biggest fan of X-Ray, and that's kind of a common theme in a lot of circles. X-Ray is kind of it's more like corporate, and the Hoodie family is very proud of themselves. So people are a bit, the attitude towards X-Ray in Europe is very different than in America. In America, it's just another brand, but in Europe, it's like that. But I'll digress. So due to that, and due to the fact that Pecco was with Schumacher, Joseph spent a lot of time helping the Schumacher guys. You guys remember the TITC when he helped Orlowski, and they even took pictures with Joseph, Pecco, and Orlowski after TITC. Yeah, that's basically like he's been getting into helping these guys, and he's even helped Bruno now with Infinity, if I'm not totally wrong. So he's been helping a lot of these touring guys, because the class he drives the most at this point is touring cars. So he kind of knows what's going on there. And then to the part of why he's maybe a bit disappointed is that with Schumacher, he helped Orlowski, no money, a little bit of recognition, but very small amounts. And then he tried to get Orlowski to go to Mayako for 8 scale. Schumacher doesn't have a car. He was like, hey, let's do 8 scale. Orlowski was fine. I like to do that. But Schumacher said no. That was kind of the first thing that JQ was pissed about. Then during the year and throughout the years, he's been helping a lot of these guys. Wiggins regularly comes to the JQ's pit and asks for help for setting up the Tekno. Mayfield does the same thing. There's pictures of this. Even at the Worlds, those guys, Schumacher guys running X-rays, they came to his pits, and pretty much everyone who's at the top of RC asks advice from JQ. So he kind of feels like he's, he helps everyone, but nobody recognizes him.
Let's reiterate that they do they do come to JQ for a lot of advice. They do.
Yeah.
But it's like a dirty little secret at the same time.
It is, and I think it's ridiculous that like people think like people don't want to say it out loud, but they do. And I think even X-Ray paid JQ to have one of his setup sessions. I don't know if it was Paul Ciccarello or someone else, but they've done it on multiple occasions. But yeah, so it's like a thing that everybody knows about, that if you have issues with your car that you can't solve, you go to JQ, but nobody says it out loud because people don't want to be associated with JQ. And at the Worlds, I remember this because I personally had a chat about this with him. When Schumacher said that they don't want to compete with other brands, and that's why he didn't want Orlowski to run with Mayako, and then at the Worlds they ran in fucking X-Ray. That's kind of where JQ was like, well, fuck Schumacher. I don't want nothing to do with them. They can solve their own shit with touring cars and all the other things. That's before that he had already been to Portugal with Hagberg. He's since then continued, to my knowledge, working with them, helping with them with the new car, and just looking at the car. A lot of the things they went to were pretty much what JQ had been saying before. What touring cars should do, like longer links and so on. They introduced that option from the box. So yeah, and that's basically the long story of how we get into this situation that he had been very involved with X-Ray, which he had never been before, and they don't even say that any thanks. No, Marty doesn't even say that he was involved in any way. So I think that's the thing. I don't think he'd be pissed if they didn't take his advice. Because like, what would he care? In the end. But yeah, that's basically the story about that. Like everybody knows who are on the top. Like at the top level, everybody knows JQ is the guy who asked for setups. Be it like even these top guys like Ongara and Canas, they do have the book. They listen to JQ and so on. But then nobody wants to say it out loud because JQ is a bit of a controversial figure, and they want to seem like they do it on their own.
All right, I wasn't sure what he was mad at. I know he has been worked with X-Ray for some time.
Yeah,
and helped with some design. And then you said it wasn't really that much change to it. So I'm sure we're going to get people in the comments saying there's lots of changes. Look, I don't claim to be some on-road guru or any type of science mode type of stuff. So I wouldn't know change if it slapped me in the face. But I get it. I get it. I haven't spoken to JQ for a while, so maybe I'll ask him about it and see what he's really upset about it. Maybe they didn't take it. I don't know. JQ might be, I don't know what he's upset at, but it kind of was upset in the thank you letter. So I'm assuming that he's upset at not being mentioned in the thanks, which I get at some point too.
I think it's kind of a hard one. I mean, I don't know JQ that well, so it's kind of hard to talk like about him in a sense. But like, if you're a manufacturer, especially like X-Ray, like you wouldn't really want to kind of, even if it was JQ or even Trish from Schumacher or whatever, you don't really want to say that another brand is kind of helping you. Like it kind of looks bad on you guys. But obviously, like you said, all the top guys know that, it's JQ that's helping a lot of these brands and drivers. But from a pure marketing standpoint, like, would you really kind of want to say that, we made this car and then, we had like JQ help? It kind of is like kind of bad press on X-Ray themselves. So, but like, I also appreciate it from JQ's side if he's put all this hard work in. Even though I'm assuming he got paid to do it or for these setup sessions or whatever, and just got nothing. I guess no recognition. But I guess if he got paid for it, then it's kind of business, and that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because I see. On one side, I see it's silly that these brands act like they are some setup gurus and know about stuff when it's clear that they don't. You just look at X-Ray and the best car designer in the world, Martin Bayer, when their two-wheel drive buggies barely make the B main. That shouldn't happen. That quote is, by the way, from RC Racing TV, the best car designer in the world, Martin Bayer. So like, to me, that's silly. But then on JQ's part, you make the terms. You can say to people that, hey, I'll help you for this amount of money. I'm providing you with a service. This is the contract. If you want it cheaper, you have to advertise that you used invisible speed in designing this car. If you want it more expensive, we have to sign an NDA. That's it. And I think this is a big issue with the RC being so unprofessional. Like, if RC was more professional, that's exactly what would happen. You would have these people who would do consulting to businesses, and they would pay you a fair amount of money to get this done. But because it's so unprofessional, it kind of is just like you have to trust others that they'll do something nice for you one day, which a lot of these brands don't because they're competing with each other. I think from JQ's point of view, of course, I get that he's mad because a lot of the advice he gives out for free, and he's fine with that. But then if you're fine giving out advice for free, you shouldn't be expecting anything in return. And especially when it's a competitive market and there's business involved. So I feel like JQ complaining is stupid, but also the company is not. Yeah, well, yeah, but the company is not like companies not acknowledging that they've used the help of invisible speed because they don't want to be associated with JQ. That's dumb too, because all of us know what happens at the track when we go to those races, especially in H-scale races when JQ's there, and even on-road races when JQ's there. Yeah, that's just my and I absolutely hate sort of the two-faced the type of people. So I do, in a sense, I understand JQ, but in other sense, you need to understand the world we live in. It's full of two-faced people. So that's what you got to do.
I don't want to beat this horse to death anymore, but JQ will quickly say, "I'm not worried about getting acknowledgement. I'm more worried about them implementing what I did and making design better." So, and then I understand Will's side, I understand your side. I think you should be getting paid for this type of stuff. I think you should be getting subcontracted for this type of stuff. If he has to sign an NDA, fine, all that type of stuff. But you know what? Like you said, if this was at the level of professionalism as we see in other motorsports, other sports, we would see that. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's see what it does. And I remember how pissed off he was at the e-buggy world. He's like, "I'm not helping Cal. Me hell, no more. No. I'm going to help Bruno." He was there when he was making all.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and we've discussed it multiple times afterwards too.
All right, all right. But otherwise, on the 26 off-road cars, anything to add?
X-ray. We talked enough about X-ray. So
well, let's move on to S-Works. They're releasing their new 2-wheel drive. So what happened with this? I didn't know they were making a new 2-wheel drive. And remember, I said something about them not being at the World Championships because they didn't have a competitive car, and that people that I knew were using associated parts on the old platform and stuff like that. So somebody must have told Mika. Mika messaged me, and we had a discussion about it. And actually, on the podcast that I dropped, as this comes out with Robert Badia, he explains why they didn't go to the Worlds, because they just didn't have time to test the car. But I did get to see the new car because Mika was at Masters of Dirt, so I got to see that on Dirt. Jorn had it as well, and I think the other young man was there with it as well. It looks good. I have some pictures. We took some pictures from Danny took some pictures in Elite RC Productions. I know you have Red RC up here, Max, but which one do you want to look at?
To be honest, just take some general picture so we can see the whole car. Yeah.
Right.
So this buggy, I wrote in the notes, S-Works releases a B6.4 because I'm okay. It's tough because I kind of have to single out S-Works because we're talking about S-Works. X-Ray did it before. Other brands have done it as well, but this B6 copy and paste is ridiculous. Sure, they have some of their own things. The front shock towers a bit different. The geometry might be slightly different, and the gearbox in the rear is different. But I think it'll be a good car because the B6 was a good car. And I feel they'll be fine, and I think it's a better design than the one they had before. But that's pretty much all I have to say. I haven't seen anything new and interesting from this car. So basically, it's just a B6 for those guys who run S-Works for other classes.
Okay.
And it's to say, and I don't want to I reiterate, I'm not singling out S-Works. This is the reason why I'm talking about this, because it's such a common issue in two-wheel drive right now. X-Ray did it. HB did it before. So yeah, I don't know. Why would you do a car if you can't do anything new to it? That's my argument.
Because there's a market for it. Because there's an actual market for it. Well, Will, your thoughts on
I think the main, yeah, Yeah, I think the main thing is like the S-Works 2, I feel like it's been needing an update for a long time. There's a bunch of like our UK guys who are running the car, and like it got to the point where they were running like different. I hope they don't mind saying it, but they were running different. They were running different shocks, like side pods, towers. Like the list goes on. Like it basically wasn't really, like a kit car anymore. They were running like associated parts, like you said. But I'm looking at the photos here, and yeah, I kind of see where Max is coming from, to be fair. Like, I don't think I can even argue with that. But it kind of looks like a hybrid of what the B6.4 is and the B7. Like, the way, like, the roll bars kind of mount. Like, they've copied the front roll bar mount, which, yeah, is pretty similar to what the B7 is. And then the rear is kind of like the mount starts above the drive shafts, and then it kind of sweeps in under. But, then I saw this prototype car at the Euros when Jorn TQ'd one round. And it looked good, to be honest. So, I mean, yeah, maybe you could argue maybe they're a little bit late to the party, like in terms of like getting this car out. But the best time was yesterday, but I guess the next best time is now. So it's good to see like them coming out with something new. I'd be kind of curious to see what's it like on carpet. That'll kind of be my thing because you can kind of gauge
He was
how
very
good a
good at
car is based where it's on carpet. But also like on Masters of Dirt, I know it wasn't the most competitive meeting, but he was still, up there. And I can't remember the other lad's name, but I know he was running the car as well. But yeah, I don't think it's
Brimstella.
honestly that bad. Oh yeah, that's the guy.
Patrick
I actually
Brimstella.
don't. Yeah, I think he's Czech or Austrian or.
No, so there were two.
Austrian.
No, yeah, he's from
Yeah.
Austria. He was at Masters, and then they had the other Dominic somebody.
Dominic Vlasek, he's from
Yeah,
Czech.
Yeah, and he's the Czech guy. So he's the one that made the Euros A final. I think it's
Yeah.
with Sweden. But
So-
yeah, I think I think it'll be a good platform. I think it's no heroics. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think they needed an updated two-wheel drive, and right now there's a market for it. Right? There's in Europe. I don't think there's any TLR cars on the market like being raced too much, but definitely in the States, I've seen quite a few TLRs at these races.
I want to
But-
come back to that, by the way. TLR,
Okay,
but
no
I'll let you
problem.
go first.
The same with Mugen. I think and then of course I forgot to say that they had a truck at Masters, right? And it was basically something that Mika and Jorn put together. It wasn't like a prototype truck, but they just slapped it together, obviously using some different arms, stuff like that. And I told him, I said, if you're gonna perfect, right? Because S-Works has got a pretty big team in the USA. It's got a pretty big team worldwide, right? And you have some good drivers like Mason Fuller, Caden Fuller, Camden Lime, who are all capable of doing 10 scale racing as well. So it only makes sense that they want to get into this market. Now, is the majority of the dirt racing going to be in the States? Obviously, yes. I also think they made this two-wheel drive car to be competitive on the dirt, right? As well. So I think it's great, but now they need to kind of transition and start selling this car and getting it in the market, getting people out there racing it. In the USA, I said the same thing to Drake, and he knows this. If Mugen bringing out their four-wheel drive, you need to have a stock guy as well as a mod guy in America to be out there competing against these guys. So if their plan is to go full into it like that, great. But then I would say they need a truck too for America, right? I think they could easily develop a truck. I know you Europeans don't like trucks, but it is still a viable class in the USA, right? So we'll see. And I think it's only smart by S-Works to be capitalizing on the, obviously TLR's kind of slow down. I want to say it. I'm trying to choose my words without getting myself in trouble and possibly getting a cease and desist. But you get what I'm saying. Like TLR, kind of that big market with the Dakota Fan and no pro team and all that stuff. They still have a good market in the USA, but we shall see. I think they need to go full into it. They seem to have a capable car. They have an updated four-wheel drive car, I'm told, as well. Like you can get a conversion. So it converts the car from what it is currently to the updated one. Mika looked very good with it at the carpet championships. And even though Masters wasn't as stacked competitive wise, they basically went over there to do testing on dirt, right? And I think kudos to S-Works. They should do it. And I think they'll be fine if they can, but they're going to have to really focus on 10 scale. They've had a lot of focus on 8 scale, but now they got to, I'm not saying that they haven't, because Mika's been running the S-Works car for a long time, but now they need to get the USA guys running, maybe some other people in other parts of the world running it as well. So we'll see what the future holds, because there's definitely a market in the 10 scale world for that.
Would the Fullers not run 10 scale, or are they mainly just 8 scale?
So the Fullers actually
I remember hearing when they were with HB, they were going to do the Arizona Worlds, and then for some reason they didn't do it.
I think budget restrictions has them doing only 8 scale, but they haven't. When they were in TLR, they did a little. I know they came from 10 scale originally. They did a lot of 10 scale in the beginning when they were younger, but they haven't done any for a long time. But I assume, and it sounds like that, at least Mason will be doing some, and Camden Lime in 2026. So we'll see what happens. I would just like run Mason and Camden and Mod and put Caden in stock and let them race there. That's what I would do. But stock is a whole different animal. Stock is more about motor and all that. Yes, it's about chassis, but you get what I'm saying. It's the stock class generates more income through the motors. And Max is just laughing at me about something. But before we get in there, you said you had something to say about TLR. And before I do that, let us know in the comments. Do you think that the S-Works car will catch on? Do you think we'll see S-Works become a major player in the 10 scale market, especially in the USA, and maybe more so in Europe? Let us know in the comments. And go ahead, Will. Tell us what you had to say about it.
It's actually not bad, so we shouldn't get a cease and desist for this.
Right.
Hopefully not. But no, I just see like TLR looks like they're kind of looking for drivers again. Maybe not pro drivers, but I saw like they put a bunch of posts out, like maybe for Pro Line as well. But maybe I'm going crazy with that. But I was looking for drivers for next season. So I wonder, like, are they kind of doing a U-turn and trying to get guys back on board? Because to be honest, their new two-wheel drive looks like a really good car, but they just don't have anyone running it. And I know, like, your favorite person in the world, Hunter, like he did fairly well at the Worlds. Like I think he was BC final. So you can imagine, if you had another top guy, that's definitely going to be. I think the car is no question, but like I kind of wonder, have TLR and Horizon kind of realize, okay, we kind of need to like have a team again, or I don't know, like you guys you're in the States, so maybe you have more insight. But that was kind of my question.
Well, I know Hunter King was running a new prototype at Carpet Championships, 4-wheel drive.
What, 2-wheel? Oh, 4-wheel. Okay.
I didn't know this, but they have done away with the RPP program. It's become something else. It's I think we talked about it, but it's not as simple as it was before. Somebody will let me know what it is in the comments. I know what it is, just on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember what it is. I think they've always wanted a team. I just don't think they're gonna have a team that they pay for, right? A professional team. So, but I mean, there's still people out there getting good deals and that are driving the car. But as some would say, TLR has lost its soul. And hey, oh well, here comes the cease and desist. Max, go ahead. Just take us right over the edge.
I hold no liability for anything I say.
No, what comes out of Max's mouth is.
No, I actually think from a purely business standpoint, if you really think about this now, we talk about S-Works, we talk about TLR. A lot of these brands release cars that are not like in any way superior from handling perspective. They don't necessarily provide anything new. It's just similar to the market, a lot of average of the market. That's the product they provide. So how do you compete with that? So then what's left of it is brand image, and pricing and availability, basically. Those three things. So product is not superior. So you have like brand image. Sure, it's a way to bring up your brand image by hiring top pros. TLR has a bit gone away from that. But there's other ways to bring up brand image, which is, your social media presence, sponsoring races, having sort of grassroots stuff happening, which arguably they have stopped a lot of that too. But there's still two things left, which is availability and then pricing. So in a lot of ways, if you give out a lot of like discounted deals and you have a decent margin in your products, you're gonna beat the competition without, a lot of these other two factors. Like you have to have some, obviously, but you don't have to have it all. So how many kits do you have to sell to hire pro? A lot. And if you think of it purely financially, um, it very, very rarely makes sense to hire pro. Very rarely. And it depends a lot on what's your strategy. And I think for Horizon, they purely look at it as a business venture. And they see Arma makes them this amount of money and TLR barely makes break even, The RTR makes up for the cost of the racing scene. So I think they realized this and now they're like, let's go all in on the sponsoring people, building strong local teams. And they might give out free product easier than they did before. For example, what I've understood, Hunter King gets everything free. He has a budget and so on. Doesn't get travel, doesn't get paycheck, but he gets everything free. Back in the day, for a driver at his level, it's maybe not possible. Maybe he's gotten a lot better recently, but it wouldn't be possible. But he does free promotion for them all the time. So I think this is just sort of counting your chips and making a very safe bet for TLR. They spend this amount of money on pros. If we cut them and give out less than 10% of that on free stuff to people, we get free promotion and we keep availability because people are going to have local hobby shops and so on, and then we're going to have people who want to be associated with these sort of full factory guys by having their discounted price. And I think in the long run, depending on how big the pro scene is, that is the more financially sense and savvy strategy. So I'm not surprised at all that TLR has gone that way. The only way it would hurt TLR is if the pro scene started having better coverage. RC became in the media like a very, very followable thing, and the pros actually like built a story to the brand. Um, so that's the only way. But as of now, it doesn't seem like the companies want to work together to make that happen. So I think Mugen, TLR, a lot of these brands, I think they're making the right call. Kyosho even to some extent. They're going back into having pros, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still really a hard one, and I do actually agree what you said with some of those points. I think the main thing I see is like the problem is with having these pros is like it's really hard to measure their value. Because someone like me, for example, when I started racing, I watched all the videos of like Cavalieri, Dakota, like Tebow, like doing all these races. And like I already was like buying Horizon hobby products by that point. Like anyone who's in the RC plane and helicopter industry, you want to like E-Flight and like those brands. So like for me, it was like, and they also had Losi, their ready to run brands. So like I got into RC from kind of watching those videos, and then like I got a ready to run, and then I got like their full fledged 22 kit. But the problem is like it's so hard to like. But part of me getting to that point was because I was watching these pros, and I think the big issue is that, and especially what Horizon probably saw, was that they have no way to prove that like to like let's say like the investors or the head guys, the senior guys. And I think that's a big issue with it. I'm not saying that the RC pro drivers like make the millions for the brands, but I think they provide a lot of awareness like for the industry and like getting people into RC in general, like especially like now, like I actually, this is like the whole tangent in itself, but like I think the media side in RC has gone way big in the last 2 years. Like even like the kind of stuff we do where we're at events and getting first laps and talking to people, and then obviously like Elite RC, RC Racing TV, EOS. Like, I think the media side is starting to step up. But I think the issue is that it's really hard to track and kind of like justify seeing data. Like it's really hard to kind of see the data to prove that maybe, having these pros are bringing more people into the RC or helping people buy TLRs, associated S-Works, whatever. And I think that's the really hard bit. And I think that's why sometimes, these brands are like, you know what, it's not worth having pro guys. So, but I think in actuality, there's a lot of awareness they bring, but it's just really hard to measure that.
I think you guys bring up valid points. Absolutely valid points.
I know you want to. I know you want to move on, but I will say this one, I will say this one final point, because I think I do want to say that we do have much more media presence, and we do have like these companies that will rely on media, kind of like this podcast. But we still haven't necessarily made it so that these races want the pros there. They don't really want the pros there. They just want people there to pay the entry fees. And then if they would like the pros there would be this incentive to sort of bring out the media, so these companies would get the coverage and through that get the presence. But for now, it's not really like that. If you look at Ongaro, you barely see him anywhere except the Euros and the Worlds, but he's still sort of winning a lot of championships. He's arguably the best driver. But if you that's the issue, I think, right now. The media we have is directed to, in a lot of ways, those who are within RC and are racing at a certain level themselves. And I think that's sort of still the downside. We don't have a market where media can survive off of bringing a product for the viewers made by the top pros. Our media relies on just showing the people going around the track to the people already within. And the companies who support the media are those that want to sell stuff to the viewers, not necessarily outside of RC, but particularly within RC and those viewers. So although media presence has increased, the presence is more so to promote the brands, and it doesn't really matter like what the product is. If you look at all these big races, there's actually less pros at each of these races, but there's still media coverage in all of them. So I think that's something that we are we're not improving the product, but it's cheaper and easier to show stuff to people. So I think that's what we're at. And that's why I think the value of the pros is going to diminish more and more the more forwards we go.
All right. I don't agree with that, but I get you. I understand it. And I understand what you're saying. I don't totally agree that we're not going to need pros. And I want to move on, because you can go on a whole other tangent for another half hour about this. But I do want to go
pros, but the way we do things now, we're going to eventually lose them.
I agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see what happens. But this is something that I like, and we've talked about this quite a lot. You seem to be a fan of this, and I'm actually surprised that you are. But WIRC has released an 8-scale electric short course truck engineered for professional races. The WIRC ST8E represents the next generation of 8-scale off-road electric short course trucks. Every component is crafted in Italy, combining advanced materials and precision engineering for uncompromising race performance. CNC aluminum chassis, superior to rigidity, blah, 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 blah. All that type of stuff. All right, let's have a look at the car. So there has been a 8-scale short course craze. I know people have been building these for years, but I will credit Chase Ehrlich, who has, because, dude, of Racecraft USA, he built one earlier one this year, and it got a lot of buzz, even from us. And I am actually, and he built one and he used 7-scale tires or actual short course tires and stuff like that. And I know people, you like this, Max. I like it. I have it on good word that another major brand is actually releasing one of these, race inspired. And I like this class. I want it to happen, but I want it to happen with wheels and tires like this, like we see here. That's
Could this replace Truggy?
I don't think it's going to replace Truggy, but what this can do is provide some really good bar banging, fender rubbing, good racing. That's what I've like about short course. It's realistic. It looks real. Number one, it looks like a real car going around, and it gets people's attention, and people can run it. Now there are 10 scale 4-wheel drive cars that are almost as big as this, but they run on 2S usually. But I'm all for it, man. I want one. Not one. I want one of the brand that's coming out with one. Will it replace Truggy? Highly unlikely, because e-Trug is just too much fun. But what it does give us, but I want it to be like, in a sense, to an extent where we're not, you and I different is you want it to run regular 8 scale wheels. I want it to have.
No.
You said you wanted to. Well, we kind of agree. We wanted to have short course wheels and tires. But for this, it would have to be a bit bigger because it's 8 scale. But that's what I want to see. I want to see a few tires made for this. Like, that's it. Bigger tires. They last long. I want it to be fun. I want it to look cool. I would love to see this as a viable class at some point. But we need. I'm actually glad that WIC has released one. I think the other companies going to release one, and I think other companies can release them too. And I know we don't need more classes in RC, but this would be a very fun fucking class in my.
Yeah, I feel like it would actually. Oh yeah, I'll let Max go first.
Yeah. Basically, it's just like the Arma, Mojave, but for racing manufacturers, which is cool. All for it.
Yeah. The only thing, like, I mean, by the way, like, I like the short course. I think it's pretty cool, and I actually think it's a cool track. The only thing I kind of see of it, because it's like you would race this on 8 scale tracks, and short course like notorious for like basically catching the wind in the jumps. Like, is that going to be like an issue? Like, if you had just saying as a pure example, like a Wicked Weekend event, and then like they make this a class, like would that then potentially like
not a Wicked Weekend at an outdoor event? It would happen. But not.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, because 8 scale tracks obviously have way bigger jumps than 10 scale. That'd be my only like thing. Like, I know you can like cut the rear of the body and get airflow through it, but
all I know
anyway
is it would be so cool to punt Max and Danny Paz with one of these, to punt them right off the track. That like my two. Well, I'll never beat Max because he's way better than me. But Danny Paz, I would punt him. So far, what do you guys think? Do you like the 8 scale short course trucks? And I know there's some people saying, I built one 5 years ago. I know this. I'm just saying they got popular with Chase Ehrlich.
I do want to say Heckert was the one who started, within the Tekno sphere. So Heckert, I think, built one, and then
Chase.
Huh?
I think it was Chase and Heckert at the same time. Heckert did a Nitro one.
Nitro, yeah. But whichever, but both of them did it, and then one was Nitro, one was electric. I just wanted to shout that out. So
hey, we've all seen that video of Ryan Mayfield wheeling one of the Nitro SC8, the 8 scale. I wanted one of them so badly, right? So maybe instead of a or a car that never existed, like a 4-wheel drive stadium truck, we can get a updated version of the SC8. Like, that has proper shocks, and that platform wasn't the best, if I remember. That was like off the original Team Associated RC, whatever it was.
Yeah, was that a Nitro platform, or was that
a Nitro and an electric one?
I feel like the Nitro would have been pretty sick.
Hey, in this case, I'm going all electric because it's just fun. And Will, when I met you, you was running Losi, or was you running Associated?
I think actually. This is a funny story on how I know you. The first time I ever spoke to you was you posted I had a 22 at the time, but I had a B5M by this point. But I was trying to flog off my 22. And you were looking for a 22, and I sent it to you, like, do you want to buy it? You never did actually buy it for it. But like,
I bought a B5M.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we had the same car, to be fair, like at the time, which kind of made things easier. But yeah, but that's how, like, if anyone wants to know how Yeah,
Pretty
to be honest, that car was absolutely it was battered. It was my first real modern 2-wheel drive. So
Right.
it was shot. I got
Well,
associated.
I guess in the comments, let us know what you think. Do you think that the 8-scale short course truck will become another class? Would you like to see it become another class? If you don't, tell us why. I mean, even if Max is in agreement with this, I'm surprised at this, but
Anything to kill Chuggy.
Dude, all right. Well, you know what? Enough about Truggy, and enough about that because I don't agree with Maxter. Let's get on to silly season, brought to you by Tekno RC.
Tekno RC. Tekno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance 8-scale, 10-scale, Nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Tekno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Tekno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.teknorc.com.
Thank you, Tekno, for all the continued support. All right. And congratulations to them winning Alabama Manufacturer Shootout Truggy and Nitro Buggy a few weeks ago. All right. So I got to see Barkan at the Alabama Manufacturer Shootout. I think he was running whatever tires he wanted at that race. And I think Borak was predominantly running hot race. But Barkan has joined. This is silly season, by the way. And okay. Let's diverse. Let's retract. Silly season has officially started, and people have been messaging me, asking me, "What have you heard about silly season? What have you heard about this?" And whatever. I haven't heard nothing. The only thing I've heard that there might be a shakeup at the top at X-Ray. Here's the thing, Roy. I don't think we've heard anything about silly season. One, most drivers are kind of in their 2-year contract that signed last year. 2, there's not much places for these guys to go anymore, right? These companies seem to be full, and I'm talking about drivers of Barkan Killick and Dakota Fens and Ronna Fox and these type of Mayfields and these guys. These guys are pretty much set in their deals for 2 years, and it's not really much options out there for these guys to go. So I think a lot of them are just sitting in the cut and waiting. I'm not saying there's not going to be some moves. There probably are, but I haven't heard anything. Well, one thing I've learned about silly season, and as Max likes to say, I stacked books, and this is what happens when you win silly season every year. One thing I've learned about it is that silly season be quiet, and then it's like boom, 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 boom. So people messaging me, asking if I heard anything about silly season. I have not. Doesn't mean anything's not happening. I just haven't heard personally. But usually by this time, I'm starting to hear rumblings, and I have not heard much. So that's telling me that it's probably going to be a quiet silly season. We might see 1 or 2 major moves, but we won't see. We might see 1 major move at that, but we're not going to see a busy. I don't feel we're going to see a busy silly season on the pro side like we saw in the last couple years. So
last year was pretty much just a whole reshuffle.
Yes,
I don't get 2 in a row. You don't get 2 in a row.
Yeah. So I don't think we're going to see that. But Barkan has joined VP Pro. Let me bring this up. I actually was surprised at this, but it's weird, right? Because the Killicks usually go to the same tires, her Red RC. So there's Barkan Killick. I would assume that this is free tires and some sort of a paycheck for Barkan, I would assume. Does this mean Borak is going to tires in the end? I don't know. But
no,
Barkan's kind of like he's not up. Borak is a pro RC car driver now, right? That's what he does for a living. Barkan is still kind of somewhat in school, not so much in school because apparently he's been ill this year. But I don't know. What do we think about Barkan going to VP Pro?
I think it's a brand that is trying to raise its head through Asia, and they have tires that actually are not that bad in all situations, and especially because modern tracks are going towards oil tracks. Tire game is ridiculous. Like tire game, it could in was it now Reg GP in Gosago? Borak ran GRP tires And no, we're not in 2008. This is 2025. Burak won with GRP tires, and that's because we have these smooth oil tracks, and it's a lot about compound. I don't know if specifically Kusaga was like that, but when you run on smooth tracks like this, the tire game becomes ridiculous. And VP Pro could be good, could be bad, but I think he's not forced to run them all the time. So I don't think it's a big deal.
I just not a big deal for me too.
Yeah, like I think I've always kind of seen. Is it VP Pro? That's what the brand's called, or
yeah, VP Pro.
Yeah. I feel like they've always done like really good accessories for a while. Like I've never kind of seen them to top end, but whenever I see them in hobby shops and whatever, they're kind of always selling like, like pretty good accessories, tools and stuff. They're kind of like always there. Kind of like how like you kind of see Savoxes everywhere. They might not have I'm not suggesting anything, but like they always have like good servos, for example, that kind of thing. So like I think they've kind of been a good brand here and there. Maybe it looks like now that they're going to go into the tire game, like and
no, they've been in the tire game for a long time.
Okay, well, yeah, that's yeah. Well, whatever. That shows how much I know about VP. But I think it's a good thing. Like I guess it's like one of their first top pros in tires for a while, or maybe ever. So hey,
Hara has been with them for a while, but I mean he's the only one, and he's not really a pro anymore. But yeah,
I never knew that.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people use tires who are just hobbyists, I would say, or people with good tires that are decent tires that last a long time and not breaking the budget. I know Gene Hickerson used to bring them in. He used to sell them in the USA quite a lot. But VP Pro is going direct to customer now, and they make a lot of things. And let's be real, they copy a lot of things too. So it's pretty easy to over there. They can just copy stuff and send it over. So I mean, for me, does this mean Burak's going to VP, or is Burak going to stay open tire? I think Burak said. I think we're going to start seeing drivers stay more open tire unless it's really, really a good paycheck here coming up in the future.
I think we're going to see open tire, and we're going to talk about FRIGM later. But I think we are going to move towards control tire little by little.
I think so too. Tyler, the Truth Jones, running for Sparco, is now joined Coyote, so that's a good, impressive driver in their team. Tyler Jones, still a fast guy, not doing this full time. He's like a semi-pro, has a real job, has a family, still racing, not hitting the RC scene. I mean, at one point, we was considering Tyler Jones to be the next big thing, and going up against these top guys. He did win that PMB back in 2019 and stuff like that, but bouncing around different teams. I think he went from Losi to Tekno, then from Tekno to Agama, and then Sparka, and then back and Privateer and VRP. And I think he just got to the point like he realized, I'm not going to be able to do this for a living or get paid a good enough wage to do this as a living and support a family. Semi-pro. I like Tyler. I think he's a good driver. I think he's a good senior driver for Sparko, like testing stuff like that. And I mean, again, a good move, but nothing too ostentatious for me. Like, okay, Coyote signs another decent driver. I mean, it's just my thought on it. It's nothing against Tyler. This one, a lot of people may not know. Sorry, did you guys have anything to say about Tyler? I'm just going through these.
No, all good.
All right, another one, but this guy has been mentioned quite a few times on this podcast by me, because I think he made one of the best passes ever in RC on Ryan Lutz at the Montpellier GP many, many years ago. He's a Portuguese guy, he's very aggressive. But
and has a wide stance on the driver stand. He's like 2 meters tall and has like the widest stance ever.
I would never forget that pass he put on Ryan Lutz in the last corner Ryan, like for the last bump up spot, and I saw it coming. But yeah, Carlos Duras, who's a very fast Portuguese racer, has joined Hong Noir, and we're seeing Hong Noir make a little bit of a comeback here. I know Chad Bradley had one from Amy and Hobbies. I see a few American guys have them. So, but I mean, I'm like getting excited about another chassis on the market is like me getting excited about another tire on the market. So kudos to him. Good luck to Duras. Serpent. Now, this is exciting. Not exciting, but surprising because you get what I'm saying, right?
Duras, by the way, Duras used to be the sole Serpent at the Euros for years on end.
Really?
But then he left for I can't remember which brand, and
I know
but he's kind of always. I think for a while he went kind of privateer, I guess. But yeah, he used to be the Serpent guy in Europe for the longest time.
All right, so
kind of together.
Here's a brand that faded to obscurity in the 8-scale world, and they had a really decent team in the USA when Paul Ciccarello was the manager. In fact, somebody just asked about this on the YouTube in a comment. We haven't seen now. Serpent is still a viable brand on the on-road side of things, but we haven't really seen anything on the off-road side of things. Now, Serpent probably got one of the best compliments ever from JQ because compliments don't come very often, and he said it's his favorite car out there next to the Kyosho, like the way it's built and the design and all that stuff. But I see they've signed a few drivers so far, and which may not be a big deal to most of us, but I haven't seen any type of significant signings from Serpent in a long time. And well, maybe people don't know who this guy is, but he's a pretty decent racer from Italy. I've seen him. I think he hangs with Riccardo Berton as well. Maybe I'm mistaken. Kind of always see him with Riccardo Berton doing his mechanic, or somebody from Italy. He's always.
I don't know. Yeah, but I think it was Will. You said that he works for Hot Race. Was it that?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I know for sure he did in the past, and I think he still does now. But I know, I think he's in school or something as well, doing in IT. But yeah, as far as I remember, he was works for Hot Race, and then obviously he was X-Ray, and now he's a Serpent. I think I didn't see that coming. I honestly thought he was gonna go Kyosho because he's with Tiana.
Mhm.
But yeah, maybe obviously. I mean, I don't really know much about the 8-scale side of Serpent, so I can't really say much. But yeah, I guess it's good to have like a kind of a more higher end guy on their team.
Yeah, I just want to say his name, Giuseppe Tassione.
Just
I like his name. I mean, have they made a new car? I don't know what's going on. Maybe
Their car is pretty solid.
Okay, but has it been updated from years ago, and it was really good. And we're talking 5, 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when this was a viable brand. I don't know. If you're running a Serpent out there, let us know if they made some updates. I'm sure we'll get bombarded if we're wrong. We shouldn't have done that. Oh, you're wrong about it. They also signed a young Spanish driver, Jose Salas. Not big signings, but kind of like, okay, they're not gone. But here's the thing: did you know that Serpent makes a whole bunch of ready to run stuff too, like ready to run monster trucks and truggies and all that stuff? Yeah, I didn't know that either. Yeah,
I knew they had like a bunch of the small 128 stuff. I never knew they had like a RTR buggy. 10 scale. I never realized they did that other stuff.
Oh, they have some. I think they might even have some bashing stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
They have diversified their portfolio for sure. But yeah, about the 8-scale side of things, they had like a decent team in Europe, and then it kind of went away altogether. And the only people running Serpent were in Sweden because they had a good distributor. But as you said, they're not big signings. But I mean, compared to no team to having like medium-sized names in their team, I think that's pretty good. That's an improvement.
I would agree there. And that's kind of my thoughts on it. And I know Sweden has like a Serpent stronghold there, right? So it's weird how brands are popular in little pockets around the world. All right. I think I just talked about this on my live where I said Sparco probably needs to get a top European driver. I know they have Noah Ben Mohammed, but here we go. Since we're coming to the shadows, or what's this called? Is this a shadow or shadow outline of possible drivers? So who's next on Team Sparco from Spain? the general consensus that this is either Adrian Pariente or Daniel Pariente. I would think it's probably Adrian because it's the one without a chassis deal right now. But it could be both. It could be both Pariente brothers. And they could be getting paid because I know Sparco has a little bit of money to pay out. But then I'm hearing that there might be some trouble in Sparco as well on the USA side. But who knows? What do you guys think? Do you think this is Adrian or Danielle? And do you think that it's either both of them? Because I think Danielle has a pretty decent deal with Tekno. But I don't know. That's the only people I could think it'd be. What should be somebody like else? But I can't see it being somebody like David Todd, Josemi.
No, it's not. It's not anyone else. Okay, I fucking recognize this shape anywhere. Okay, it's a certified Pariente brother shape. I tried to even look online if there was like a picture with him, of him with this hair. But I couldn't find one. But that being said, I'm like 99.9% sure this is Adrian Pariente, just because Daniel, like, he doesn't have this like shape. Because they look a bit different, and this is the main way of differentiating them too. Daniel has a longer neck. Adrian has a longer neck, so
Jesus, man.
Yeah. But basically, this
Max
is Adrian
says his neck
Pariente joining Sparco.
I think that I think Adrian is probably going to be faster than Danielle. To be fair, it seems like it. Good signing from Sparco. I mean, there's a market in Spain. There's a market in Europe. So let's see what happens with that. Once again, these are like the small rumbling. Like this is a decent move for Sparco, but not like a huge, gigantic move, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is the type of silly. This is like the beginning of silly season right here. So, yeah.
I
think.
Go ahead, Will.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I was gonna say is like, how come because I remember I can't remember which one's who, but why did one of them leave Tekno and the other one stayed? Or
I don't know. I
don't know. One time, like one of them they were both running different brands, and I don't know, like if I don't know, like what happened. Was it like a falling out, or was there just? Well, I know one of them's older than the other one, but
Daniel is the older one, and I think what happened was they was both driving for S-Works. Adrian was so young that he barely had any good results. Daniel had made the Euros main. He had made big results in Spain, and so on. And then they joined Tekno with that premise. And I think what happened, they sent Daniel to America, and they sent Daniel to a lot of these big races. And then Adrian went only the races in Europe. And the reason why Adrian like did not continue with Tekno, I obviously have no idea why, but I can only assume that the deal for Daniel is actually that he gets travel or even paycheck. And for Adrian, there was a worse deal, you know? And then they thought that the car wasn't good, which obviously it's like in Southern Europe, a brand who is developed only for America and more specifically West Coast America. Of course, it's going to be tough. And then there was time where I think he was running HB, then he was a Kyosho, and then he was a Mugen now during the summer. And I think because Adrian did much better this year than Daniel did. So I think now it's kind of like they have a chance to get a proper deal for Adrian. And Sparco is like he enjoys the C Hub more than Pivot Ball, I guess. And then they went for Sparco, or then Sparco just offered them a great deal. But I do have to say this, that I think this is a bigger signing for Sparco than Jonah Wilson. I know your American lenses are gonna say but if you think in a picture of driver skill and possible top performances in the world, I think this is a bigger signing than Jonah Wilson was for Sparco.
I would disagree with that, but I understand. I look. If it is Adrian Parente, I think it's a great signing for him. I think Wilson is better than Adrian Parente personally, and a good signing for them as well. But I disagree with that being a bigger signing. But in Europe, in Spain, it's a huge signing, right? But I don't know. I think Jonah Wilson is a better driver than it. I don't know if he's a better driver, but I think he was a better signing for USA. Bigger
Short term,
bigger signing.
I think Jonah is better short term. I think Adrian is better long term.
I mean, they're both still young. I mean, I think Jonah's 18 now. So I mean, I think Adrian may be 16 now, but who knows? I think it's good. Good job, Sparko. Too young, a French guy, and they have two young, decent guys in two big markets in America, in Europe, Spain and France. So I'm pretty good.
Exactly.
All right, can we move on to our last one that I actually found this morning? I was a little bit surprised, but then again, I'm not surprised. So we've said his name before here. Jaden Edmonds, he's a fast Australian guy, was on the Mayako team, has left Mayako, Australia. No idea where he's going now. I saw that Christian Walhooter as well went to Kyosho. I forgot to talk about that. That was early. He left S-Works and went to there. I have a feeling that Jaden's going to S-Works or maybe Kyosho. We'll see. But I think Jaden had a good year with Mayako. He got a lot of press. So maybe we go on a quick tangent about this, right? Because I wish him all the best and all that type of stuff. And I think he had a very good year. He made some splashes with the Mayako. I think he won the ABC race earlier this year. It was first round in New Zealand. But a lot of these guys get on these teams, like they get on a smaller team like a Mayako, which is a smaller team compared to the others. I'm not saying anything bad, but they get on. I've seen this happen as a team manager. They get on there. It's like they're stepping stone. They get all this attention, and then they go join a bigger team, and they just become another spoke in the wheel, right? Even you, Max, you was talking about this kind of happened to you when you left Mayako. Sorry, JQ Racing at the time, and went to Associated, right? You had you had a lot of popularity at JQ Racing. People knew you. You was very fast at that time. You won DNC Intermediate or Expert class. You know, you was doing really well. You was traveling with JQ. And you went to Associated and you just became another spoke in the Associated cog in the wheel, right? And I see that happen with lots of potentially good racers, right? They've been through Mayako or been through some of these smaller teams. They get to this team and then they like, I'm happy to be on this team, but I'm really at the end, I'm not really as popular or as special as I was on this smaller team. It's a big fish, little pond, big fish, bigger pond type of situation in this case. So I don't know what happened with Jaden Edmonds. I think he had a good year, but this happens, right? And as a former team manager, when this would happen, it used to really like this type of stuff. Like you work hard with somebody and you work through them like a year or something with a car, put a lot of time into them, and then they just leave for, I don't know, potentially better deal or something they think they're going to be better. It is frustrating. I understand probably if he's got a better deal somewhere else, great. If he didn't like what was happening with Mayako, I understand that too. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you go to a bigger team, sometimes you just don't get the same special. You're not as special to an extent, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying, right, Max and Will?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, like, I want to go into sort of my experience of it. If I went to Associated and just continued doing what I did with JQ Racing, I would have gone nowhere. You know, that would have been kind of the end of my RC career in a lot of ways. I would have probably gotten decent deals from brands, and I could have still been like a factor, but in no way would I have like in no way would people know me as well as they did when I was running JQ. Obviously, for me, that since then I understood it when I made this decision. I knew that would be the change, and I kind of wanted that to happen. I wanted to do my own thing, and my goal was that I would do my YouTube stuff, and hopefully that would catch on. And then what ended up happening is I came on the podcast, so I'm still like people know me from RC. But for a lot of these guys, that's not the case. They don't, maybe they don't want to be big at all. For me, it was like I wanted to be a name in RC, but I wanted it to be because of me, not because of JQ Racing, and that's why I kind of wanted to go away. But for a lot of these other guys, I think they believe that Mayako is a stepping stone for them going pro, but they don't understand that their chances of going pro through someone like Mayako or through someone like Sparko is much higher. And you can see when it happens the other way around. Lee Setzer is a great example of this. He was in the AE team for the longest time ever. Back of the team, not a name. Even when he had good results, it was like, oh, 3 guys in the top 5 from AE. But it was Lee Setzer in 4th, you know? We didn't say Lee Setzer got a 4th. We said 3 guys from AE in the top 5. And that's the issue, that you're just a cog in a machine, not a spoke in a machine, but you can eat like you said before. But yeah, we'll get over that.
Spoke in a wheel.
Now he joins Sparko, and everybody, when Lee Setzer gets a 7th, we mention him on the podcast, you know, because Sparko got a 7th thanks to Lee Setzer, and that's the sort of the dynamic we have, and even from Sparko's side of things, every time he does even something monumental, they post it. But Associated, it's just one of the guys. So it works both ways, and I think that's the biggest challenge. Like, even if you think about all those guys who were big when they were running JQ Racing, like Mitsubi, even Bradley Bird at some point, and then, I mean, there were others that I can't think of now. I guess I'm one of them. And then after that, are they known for anything RC related anymore? Not necessarily. Like, even Mitsubi, when we talked about him, it's kind of like, oh, he's the guy who used to run JQ. Even though he got a Euros A final result after he left JQ, which is like a big thing. So the hill to climb from like these regular teams is much, much bigger. And the cars aren't usually any better. Even at JQ, sure, I think the JQ was lacking in, let's say, 2015. But by 2018-19, the car was just as good as any other car. And that's just it's a bit of a fallacy. Joseph has talked about this in many occasions, and I hope the drivers who make the switch understand this, because when I did, this was my goal. I wanted to do it like this, and it went kind of better than I expected. But I don't think many of these young drivers understand what being on a small team, especially associated with JQ, even with it when it comes with negatives, the big positive is like you get a lot more acknowledgement than you really should in your positions.
And I just want to, before Will goes on about this, talks about it, I wanted to just reiterate, you also spent 10 plus years working with JQ, you know, from 8 years old. You learned a lot from him. You traveled a lot with him, and that's how that's how people got to know you, right? In fact, people still today will say, "Yeah, mini JQ." And but you were also, you kind of established yourself in that time, right? So these guys that are going to do this, it's super exciting, and I'm glad, you know, wherever they're going, they might be getting a better deal, or they think they're going to be better. Or the one I always hear is, "I get better support." Well, that support also has to get spread out amongst a bunch of big team, right? And then eventually, sometimes somebody's not going to pay attention to you. You're not doing what you want, and you're going to get pissed off at them, and you're going to look for that support somewhere else. I think that if you, like you said, if your goal is to become a pro or eventually try to become a pro, you probably stand a much better chance of doing it on a smaller team like a Mayako, even or a Sparko. And I would say that's somebody's going to probably chime in there. Sparko is a big team compared to Associated, compared to S-Works and Tekno. It's not, right. It's still a growing team. So, and then even like a guy like Lee Setzer, who has, and Jonah Wilson, another one who all these guys had. These are guys who Lee Setzer is a very good racer, right? I think Jonah Wilson is the better of him. He's younger, but Lee Setzer is a good racer, a good example. He's getting results for Associated. Now he gets a paycheck from Sparko, right? Which is something that he was wanted. And I get that. probably wasn't getting a paycheck at Associated. And Associated can't give all. We're using Associated because they have a big team, right? It's nothing. We're not dissing Associated. We're just saying there are so much there's so much talent on the Associated team. Like their talent, their depth is deep, like the Mariana Trench deep, right? They have people waiting in like it's so impressive. Like they have so many people running the car. This is an old brand, right? So if you think you're gonna go in there and just be like have that same type of special treatment on that bigger team, it will be okay for a little while, but then you just become another guy sitting in the pits, trying to be cool. That's what it comes down to. I think it's an image thing too. I think it's the people want to be part of the cool team, right? And let's be honest, like no offense to the Mayako team or the JQ team, we were never the cool guys, right? Never. We were
it's the underdog. Yeah.
All right, Bill. You just ran on an Associated rant.
I wanna say Tater and TLR goes into this category as well. Like he's basically losing any chance to be a pro running XJ.
I don't know what's going on with Tater. If I'm Tater Sontag right now, I'm going Mugen. Like Mugen can pick him up and pay him what they paid Ryan Mayfield. He can run 8 scale and run their new 10 scale program. That's what I would do. If I'm Mugen, I go get Tater Sontag on the cheap right now for next year. That's what I would do. Bill, give us a little bit on your thoughts on what we just said, and then we're going to move on to races and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a hard one. Like, I mean, myself, I'm all for like brand loyalty, and like, if a brand's gonna like help you, I assume someone like Jaden was getting a lot of support, maybe even like a lot of help from JQ in terms of setup and so on. So, in my opinion, I'm a massive, like fan for, really stay loyal with brand and build with them. But like, I mean, I don't know where Jaden's going, but I guess, for example, if we use an example here, for example, like Mayako and a company like Associated, like they're two different like situations. Like sometimes I feel like going to a bigger brand and maybe being a smaller part of that team, you can obviously, how can I say, like in terms of setup, you have so many people to bounce ideas off. You'll have kind of a lot of support network in that sense, and you can bounce ideas off each other. And like the brand's big, the cars generally are going to be pretty good. I know the Mayako and Sparko are pretty good cars, but I know traditionally Associated. Maybe I'm biased, maybe it's just my opinion, but they're always like on the higher end, so you kind of know it's always going to be there and thereabouts. But then, like, I guess the flip side is like it is easy to kind of feel like, if you're not like a Spencer or whatever, to feel like a smaller fish in that pond. And eventually, like, I know what tends to happen is like when guys stay with let's say like a TLR, like Mugen, X-Ray or whatever, and then they go to a smaller brand, it's like generally because they've kind of reached to that point where they've been with a big team and they probably won't get any bigger. And then that's where I kind of feel like, in this case, Lee, like I think guys really sound kind of a good driver. Is he the next kind of like world champion? I'd probably not, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But like he's still worthy of something, and if another brand's going to give you that opportunity, I completely understand that. And when you've kind of been around for that long, sometimes in that case it makes sense. But in terms of someone like Jaden, like to be honest, I think I only really met him in the world, so I only know him as a face value, but I don't know how long it's been with Mayako, but like, I mean, I don't know if it's a good move. I don't know if it's.
He knows.
Yeah, like it's a hard one to say. Like, it might be a good move, but I kind of feel like I kind of touch on the JQ. Like JQ brings a lot of knowledge, and like maybe he would have a lot of direct support on that side, like he did, and he's obviously had good success. But then we have no idea why he's moved. It could be anything. Like, it could be an argument, or it could just be a better deal. So you never know.
I'm not harping on Jaden. I'm just bringing that what's up with him, what he's done. Many have done, right? It's not just about him.
Yeah. Like I'm saying both sides of it as well. Yeah. I'm not trying to say it's good or bad.
Your side too.
Yeah,
bigger team, more. But then you know what you find out when you go to these bigger teams and all stuff. Everything's still the same. Like the cars have issues. It's harder. It's all the same thing. It comes down to the same thing. Like, well, this person isn't sure and does setups with me or this. This is why you should go out and get knowledge for yourself and learn how to do your own thing at the end of the day. too. That's another thing. But I wish him all the best. I got to know him a little bit in the last year with my talking to him. And I don't know where he's going, but I want to reiterate, we're not harping on him. We're just saying, like, I didn't know who Jaden. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really know who Jaden was till I saw him on my Akko team. So you get some sort of visual. It may be a small team, but you get promoted, right? Obviously, and it's not just my Akko. You see this in Sparko and other smaller teams as well. So I don't know. We wish him all the best. And hopefully he got a very good deal and he's gonna be happy wherever he is and whoever is. We're just saying this is a common thing we see this time of year in silly season. And as already I have seen quite a few of as 2025 comes to end, so does my time with such and such and such and such. And oh my goodness, that is like, I know, and it's silly season when I see this all the time.
And in the classic black and white photo, it's all going down.
Yeah. It's become pretty much synonymous with it. And I believe I said wheel in this. I believe I said spoke in the wheel, Max, but I probably did mess up somewhere. But that's what I meant.
You meant spoke in a wheel, but you said spoke in the cog machine.
Yeah. You know me. You know what I meant. You know what I meant to say. All right, let's get into some past races. And if you guys have any ideas or any predictions where you think people might be going or whatnot, let us know in the comments. We want to get those comments going because we want to get things. We want to get that YouTube algorithm going. Elevate your RC experience with SidePieceRacing.com, North America's exclusive distributor of top-tier brands that like Automatics, Roche, Wild Turbofan, Montec Racing, Corsa-Tech, Phoenix Racing, and Real Speed. Whether you're seeking precision-engineered car kits or high-performance batteries or aerodynamic bodies, we've got you covered. Enjoy fast shipping and accessible customer service, ensuring you get the best gear when you need it. Visit SidePieceRacing.com today and race ahead of the competition. Also, a big shout out to our friends in Sweden, Lefty Racing, one of Sweden's premier hobby shops and tracks dedicated to races featuring top brands like X-Ray, Hobby Wing, Zoo Racing, and Team Coyote. They provide everything you need from precision chassis to high-performance electronics. Whether you're at the track upgrading your setup, Lefty Racing caters to racers who demand the best. Visit Lefty.se, stop by our shop, and track for the ultimate RC experience. Lefty Racing, built for winners. We have links for those in the written description of this podcast. Let them know you heard about it on the No Name RC podcast. So while I was on the road, we had a lot of races going on. Obviously, I was at the INS. We had probably the biggest race. One of the biggest races was the Team Associated Vintage Championships. That was held at a hotel in Las Vegas. It was held, unfortunately, the same weekend as the INS finals, which was the INS finals date was set from last year. And I think the vintage race was kind of something that came up all of a sudden, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was held October 16th to 19th. I will say this. I watched a little bit of it because I was actually calling a race at INS, so I didn't get to watch much. I know a lot of people went there. I thought it looked cool. I thought they had the track set up with the infield. They had a replica of I believe it's the Ranch Pit Shop track from the world track from 1980, whenever Jay Housley won it, I think. I think it looked cool with the sod in the middle and the track, the replica of it. And I get it. There's people like vintage and there's a big vintage craze. I personally I think it's cool, but it's not my personal cup of tea. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to go to this race and I'd probably even love to race it. But like the vintage electric stuff isn't really tugs at my heartstrings too much. I enjoy it, but I'm always been a Nitro guy. But I get why people enjoy it. I get why Associated did it because freaking hell, they're releasing all these re-reads of everything. So it's a great business move for them. They had Kurt Busch there as well. They had Rivkin and Mayfield there. It looked like a good event. It had good coverage. Maud did it. It was a lot of hype around. I know the guy Dirk Anderson and is really big on this. They're going to do it again next year. They have a big vintage race at Hoosier as well next year, which they did this year as well. I thought it was a good event, but I'm a big fan of going forward, not going back. And while it's cool and I get all that stuff, I would rather push RC forward, right, instead of going back. But I did see some tangents come out of this. Guys ended up using big modern day shocks, right? and modern tires because the track actually got hard packed. It was loose and loamy at first, and then it looked like it got a little hard pack at the end. And there's talk about having a vintage Worlds and all this stuff. I'm just gonna say this, right? It was also what was cool about it was to see all the legends like Masami, Matt Francis, Mark Pavidis, Jay Halsley, all these. That's cool. I think that was all cool. I think the whole production was cool, all that type of stuff. I have to go on. Did you see Masami's radio? You didn't see that?
Radio?
He had a KO Propo radio, right? I believe it was pistol grip throttle. And then it had somebody's got to find it. There's got to be a picture of her somewhere. And then it had
they have that, yeah.
It wasn't a pistol grip throttle. It was actually like steel sticks, but like it was like in a body of a pistol radio.
Gotta find that.
It was really weird, but yeah.
Max, you find it. You can do two things at once like a woman. So you find it. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. But at the end of the day, the fast guys now are still fast. Rivkin won some of the classes. I know Patrick went there. I tried to say I know all the classes. I know it's split up with years and all this stuff. And I think it's cool. People get to race their old cars and all this type of stuff. And I think it's great. But me as a Nitro head, this is like, yeah, it's cool. I would love to go to it, but I'm more about going as fast as possible and being modern. But I think it's good. I think it's great. I know a lot of people like, why hasn't TLR released any re-releases? I heard a possible rumor about why they haven't too.
You know, a few years ago, they could have just not released any new, like, what was it, 2014? They still had that old four-wheel drive from the early 2000s. So they wouldn't even have to release anything. They could just run their four-wheel, would be vintage.
Well, I heard, I have wondered why Horizon has not jumped on this re thing like Associated has. But from what I heard, and this is the rumors coming out of this race, is that I heard that they don't earn the rights to this here, apparently. I think it's still I think Gil Losey Jr. might still have it for like the old designs and whatnot.
Yeah. Here's the Masami radio.
Oh, so what? Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was a pistol grip. But it's weird because it has a pistol grip. It has a pistol grip too.
Yeah.
We need another picture.
Let me.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. It's like a hybrid between a pistol grip radio, but then it's like a normal stick radio at the same time.
Yeah, so it's basically like the KO. So what is done? Okay, so there's the KO radio offers you the chance to switch out the steering piece for a stick. But it also gives you the chance to go from left-handed to right-handed. So it's basically attached two of the stick steering pieces and then just uses the other one as throttle and other as steering. Now, why doesn't he just use the standard KO stick radio? I don't know if they have one, but if they did, why wouldn't he use that? I have no idea. But maybe this is lighter. Maybe the shape is better for him. I really don't know. Maybe he doesn't want his thumbs to see each other. But yeah, I mean, it looks weird, and it's a very Masami thing to do. So
yeah, I would love to go to this event. I think it's cool. I understand that vintage people enjoy it and all this type of stuff, but I think the RC industry is going to beat this horse to death as well, kind of like short course, and it's probably going to be big for a few years and then go back. I'm not saying that. Look, let me retract. I have a feeling it's probably going to be big for a few years and then get beaten back to what it was, grassroots, vintage. I'm fine with this having 2 races a year. I'm fine with having this race every year. It's cool. It's great. But it doesn't get my juices flowing like modern day RC.
I think it's not bad because for a lot of these pros, I can understand that RC doesn't feel that fun because you're basically racing every weekend. You cannot win every single race, and like your life is on the line and blah blah blah. So having sort of this fun thing in RC Because this is as close as you can get to RTR racing on a track. You know, the RC pros, they like bashing in a park with their friends. For most of them, that's not fun. But running this old vintage car, yeah, I think it's fun. So having this sort of non-serious get together and hanging out with your friends just for fun, I think it's actually that's why it's so like why people were so excited about it. Especially guys like Mayfield, who is actually interested about RC. It's kind of like taking a step back from the seriousness of racing. So I view it like an RTR within the track RC, like track racing scene, you know? So I do see it having a place, but I don't see it being a thing, you know, like people actually put time into it. It's more like, hey, I have this car, I'm gonna race it once or twice a year to have fun with my buddies, you know? One like that.
I'll go ahead, Will, and then I'll say my finishing what I think at the end.
Yeah, I think in general, like I think it's a pretty good thing. Is it more of a craze? I'd probably say so. Like that's my honest opinion on it. But I know there's so many guys like from back in the day, and like I'm sure you guys hear it. They say how great racing was, you know, in the 90s, 80s, and the early 2000s. And I think this is it's a good opportunity for like those guys like ex legends or guys that used to race back then to kind of relive the hobby. Like, and I think it's kind of thing is, as we can all agree, like, you know, the rear motor cars are always easier to drive and arguably a bit more fun, especially on dirt. So it's kind of nice like that associated with making this race. And I think it'll be cool again next year. I'd almost like to see like them make like a B4 class. So what I was gonna, this is my opinion. I almost kind of feel like, you know, Cav and Mayfield and Spencer, obviously they kind of all grew up. Maybe I'm not sure about Spencer, but all go with a B4. So maybe they made like a B4 class. That could be more like the top pros class, and then like the RC10 class could kind of be more reserved for kind of like the
I
Pavidas,
think
Craig Drescher. I don't know. I kind of feel like that would at least kind of split up a little bit because people who like, I mean, I might be wrong here, but I don't think Cav and Mayfield grew up running an RC10. It might be a little bit too old. If that makes sense for their time. That would kind of be the only thing I'd say about it.
I think they actually did split up the classes. So they had like gaps in it. I don't have the results here, but they did have like two-wheel drive 88 to 92 or something. And then they had two-wheel drive like 93 to 96. And then they had like all the way up to like I think 2001 or 2002. So they did have that split, and most of the top guys was running the like RC10, OG RC10 class, and then like the B4 class. They was running two classes with two different cars. So I think it worked out pretty well actually. So yeah, they was splitting it up, but I don't know if you meant like to have even the more modern rear motor cars.
Yeah, I think it's more like I guess like I always knew Cav and Mayfield from like running the B4, and I feel like the guys that like, you know, won championship with the RC10, like obviously Cav and Mayfield were like, you know, really really good drivers, and I guess they were kind of maybe in relative like better than like the guys like Craig Drescher and Masami. That kind of makes sense. Like Masami like raced the RC10, and I assume maybe won a world championship or two with that car, while like Cav Mayfield never did. So I guess if you're kind of thinking more like, it would be kind of cool if like the guys that won the worlds with like, for example, the RC10, they were the guys that or like did or that was like their class back in the day. They should kind of do like, they should only race in that class, and Mayfield and Cav, like it'd be cool if, I think a B4 is probably a little bit too modern, but maybe there's like a B3 or B2, whatever, but kind of, you know, that kind of era, those guys stuck to that kind of era. I think it's more what I'm trying to say is like the guys that they were, whatever era they were in, it'd be cool if they only raced in the era they were kind of at their peak at, if that makes sense. So I think the only thing, like, by the way, I'm not digging at anyone. I think it was a really cool event, even just to see those guys. But obviously, like, Cav and Mayfield are still at the top of their game, and these legends, I guess, kind of didn't. I know it was all fun, but I guess they didn't have the real chance to kind of really experience it and potentially win. But maybe that's more of like a really deep thought rather than like, you know, anything.
I do agree with you on that, to be honest. I do see your point there.
I agree. I see your points as well. I see Max's points too. I think I just know I've seen this happen before. Something that makes money in RC, it gets flogged to death and then put away, rode hard and put away dirty. And I just feel like it's gonna get too competitive, and it's gonna become like it's gonna go. And it's nothing wrong with being competitive, but all right, like we had that day was like, should we have original shocks versus now more modern 13 millimeter shocks? Now the argument is, well, we could get more shock pistons and springs and options for that. So you see, it's already starting to get too competitive, right? And somebody's going to want to be the vintage world champion. And then next thing you know, we're going to have all pro class. And guess what? The fast people are still going to be fast when it comes to that. So if it stays friendly, have fun, people enjoy it, go there to drive their vintage cars and race and have legends come together, which is great and helps promote our hobby, great. But the way forward is not back. The way forward is forward, right? And I want to go forward, and I want to show the best of the best. But other than that, I have a feeling that I saw Mimo Buggy make a post about it, right? And I had to laugh because kind of like how I feel about it. I think it's going to get flogged to death, just like Short Course did, and then put away. Right. That's my. All right. And I'm probably going to get a lot of people pissed off with what I just said. It's not that I don't like it. It's not that I don't like it. I'm more into modern racing because that's my thing, right? I had a B2, but I never had an RC10 or anything like that. I was always into Nitro and stuff like that. All right. INS finals. I'm actually going to do a whole live show on this, so I don't want to get into too much of this. Really enjoyed my time at Hoosier RC Hobbyplex. It's a great place, awesome place to race on. It was fun. Brock Champlin was the toast of the town, almost the entire INS. We had Horn there. Obviously, there weren't too many people there because a lot of them, like No Rivkin and a lot of people that didn't come, they went to the vintage race or just needed a break because this is right at what we had a very busy schedule here. Worlds, pretty much I was to say almost 2 weeks or just over 2 weeks in Australia. Comeback, INS, vintage race, AMS, Masters, that all this stuff. But in the end, the four-wheel drive championship went to Champlin, Horn, and Fenn came. I think these are the overall results right here you have, Max?
Yeah,
And
overall championship.
And then we had Champlin, Horn, and Bada in the two-wheel drive championships. I'm going to do a whole INS live next week with Alex Sargent and possibly Rona. So I'm not going to get too much into that. We had the Sampadal International Grand Prix off-road race. You didn't mention the GDC race that they had because like Coelho, Ronafalk, and all these guys were actually in China for quite some time.
Yeah, they went to the GDC race first. Yeah, but there was kind of no coverage of that race. Huh?
Well, when you say coverage, there was no video coverage of either race.
Well, yeah, but SIGP had Red RC there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I kind of focused on SIGP. I think GDC race was kind of like just a club race because all of these guys went to practice at the GDC, and then they traveled from that to SIGP. So it was kind of like practice or warm-up race for them.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. I think we saw Coelho, Ronafalk, and I think JQ's been to this race a few times. I think Lutz has even been to this race. No, maybe Jorn Newman. I think Lutz has been to this race too. Might have.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's basically at the track where the 2017 10 scale worlds were held. It's at the Sampadal factory. In electric bug, we had Coelho, Ronafalk, and Kato. And then we had in IC buggy, Nitro buggy, we had Kato, Ronafalk, and Coelho. Now, let's talk about Kato because this guy, you've been impressed for him. I know, like Ronafalk did, congratulations, Coelho, congratulations, Ronafalk, blah, blah, blah. But Kato, you have been impressed with Kato for quite some time, Max. But I would say that this year has been a great year for Kauki Kato in the off-road scene. And I was actually hoping he would be at the damn carpet championships. And I hope he comes to America next year to race some races. But this guy, I think Kauki is the next big thing coming out of Japan.
Yeah, I think Worlds say main in two-wheel drive. If I'm not totally wrong, he even made the world's main in on-road 1.8. I could be wrong about that. But either way, very versatile driver. And very narrowly missed the world's main in e-buggy. I think he won the Nitro championship in ABC. Beat Ongaro there. Obviously, Ongaro had some technical issues, but still, now beat Ronefog. And from what the Red RC reporting is, it went right down to the line. So it was not like everybody else had some issues and he just went and happened to win. No, he had the fastest lap in the main. He was right there in pace with Bruno and Ronefog. And in even some metrics, he was even faster. So yeah, I think incredibly good run for him, an incredibly big win. I mean, last year it was Ongaro and Polito went to this race and Polito won it. This year we obviously didn't have those guys, but beating Ronefog, because Ronefog and Guelph have gone to this race before. It's not their first time here. So it's not like any way home field advantage or anything, and it's in China, not in Japan. I think this is kind of the race that if Koki has a great next year, I think he's gonna go over to Europe or America to race more next year as well, because Infinity will realize that, hey, this guy's actually good, not only like good in Asia. So I think he will race more, and hopefully he'll race more next year. And when he does that, or if he does that, I think the results will be good, and I think people will be even a bit surprised, because he is like, he's been consistently getting better, and I feel like recently he's unlocked something that's really pushing him forward. So I don't know. I'm excited to see him because I've been hyping him up for a long time, but it was kind of like he was the best driver from Japan, so I liked him because of that. Because I feel like Japan is sort of the country who made RC what it is. If you look at the history of RC, sure, associated was a thing, but you get my point. And I think they need a top talent like him. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just really happy for him, and they have been like, okay. I'll say one more point. The greatest thing about him is he wins even when he's like not dominating the qualifyings, which is like promising, because a lot of times when it's sort of an outlier winner, they are already good in the qualifiers. They have some sort of either home field advantage, or they are in some way just something clicks for them that week. But for him, he can win from like he started third, on the grid, and he still won. So yeah, really promising. Kind of like reminds me of like Ongaro back in the day.
Well, you got to see him in Australia. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with him. Like I saw him a bit more like in terms like on the world scene like this year. I can't remember what they called him, but it's like I can't remember. It was either Brent or someone else like told me, but they kind of like gave him the name of like Silent Wolf or something, because he doesn't talk much. But then obviously on track, he's like a menace, like in a good way. I'm not saying he's like an animal. Like he's a really good driver. I think, like you said, he's probably the next best thing to come out of Japan, because I know there was another guy, Yuki Segura, and he was like really promising, like right before COVID, and I don't really know what happened to him. And then like Nyota, I think, is more like on the on-road side. So in terms of off-road, he's kind of like the next big thing, I'll say for sure. But I didn't realize he was through Infinity as well as Associated, as in I'm assuming he runs just Associated for 10 scale off-road and then Infinity for 8 scale. So, but I think it's good. Like obviously, I don't know if he's been to that track or not or whatever, but he's a really solid talent. And I definitely think like the only thing I kind of notice with Japanese drivers is they don't go to like the States or Europe as much, at least in off-road. And I think it'd be good to see him like it's kind of like sad in a way we don't have like a Reedy race anymore. But that was like the one race you kind of knew for sure everyone, like at least from most parts in the world would go to that race. I remember, like, Josh Payne would go, like Christmas 30, and then like obviously in like even Ioto and a few other Segura, and obviously Europeans and Americans would always go to that one race. And it was kind of nice to have that race other than the Worlds that everyone would go to. So I guess kind of the bigger, obviously, Yuki, solid guy, but like, it'd be really cool to have a race like a Rudy race again to bring everyone together. And I think that's this is going to be a whole tangent in itself, but that would be cool if we had something like that again and kind of bring everyone together.
I would agree. Carpet championships is similar, but I would love to see some Asian persuasion come over and do some racing. You know what? While you was talking about Infinity and all that stuff. All right, Max, go ahead and have a point.
Yeah, I said before that Goki did 8-scale on-road, 1/8 IC on-road World Championship Finals, and he did. So he's done well in 1/8 IC on-road. He's done well in 10-scale. He's done well in 8-scale as well. Not a World's A main yet, but it's coming. So I think that's also, like, if we think of like the drivers being versatile like that, it's always good. So just wanted to bring that up.
You know how we was talking about silly season, and I said there's possibly nowhere for racers to go. I completely ignored the fact that Infinity could inject some money and take some USA racers and maybe some more top top European racers for 8-scale. Possibility. They have the funds to do it. Do they have the will to do it, though? Do they have the infrastructure in America to do it? They have a decent infrastructure in USA, in Europe, but do they have the infrastructure in America at this point? No, but they could do it. So keep our eyes on that. All right. We're going to get into Alabama Manufacturer Shootout, but first, a big shout out to Beach RC for all the support. We have a affiliate link in the written description for them. Check it out. Use it. It helps us out a lot.
BeachRC.com, the Razor's one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, S-Works, Pro Circuit Racing tires, Nitro Lux fuels, and Assault RC performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
Thank you to Brent, Lucas, and everybody there at Beach RC. Let's get on to the Alabama Manufacturer Shootout, which was held November 7th to 10th in Coleman, Alabama. This has become like the last big international 8-scale race, because there are some other races coming, like Fall World is going to be a big race. But when I say this is the last race that we have the amount of talent that comes to this race, and this year was no different. We had pretty much all the top American guys there. Even Spencer Rifkin. This is his first race time race this year, I do believe. And then we had the Europeans. We had Barkan and Burak Kilik. We had Robert Badier, Mika Widmeyer, and Juan Carlos Canas coming over. We had the people from Nova over again this year. They seem to be making some good strides. I actually have one of their engines in my gas truck now. Thank you, Jimmy Woodley. Check them out. And I watched some of those engines. It's really good. The 12s. But yeah, Alabama Manufacturer Shootout. So this race is capped. It's run like it starts on Thursday with practice. You have time practice. This is different from the rest of the race time events, which has open practice and running. Just you know what I mean. It's like it's got class by class practice. The goal of this race is to give people as much run time. It has a Super Bowl race, which was actually probably the most exciting racing, I think, of the event, was the 10-minute Super Bowl races. And then everybody who raced, if you were in a low electric final, you got double 10-minute finals and you got 30-minute Nitro finals. And then if you were in a final, you got 45-minute Nitro finals and 3 triple A finals at 10 minutes long. So this is a long race, right? It takes a long time, but people get a plethora of runtime. I want to say the weather was the best I've ever been to an AMS. It was actually very nice. I think that's what made it. The coolest I got was Sunday. And that's when you had to put on like a hoodie. You can still be in shorts, but it was very nice. Usually I've been to this race and you are wrapped up in a jacket, a wool hat, and Max, you even though you're from Finland and you should be used to the cold, you would have been freezing your little Finnish balls off. So would have been it's bad, and it played dividends in the way the track developed. So I got a video of the start of the Nitro racer that I'm going to put up, and I actually really like the layout from Bobby. Now we did criticize Bobby pretty bad on the layout from Wicked Weekend. I'm pretty sure he listened to us. He didn't say nothing to me, but I'm pretty sure he listened to us. And I think he did a good layout. I was a little bit skeptical about this big double that he had in the beginning of the race, but I think it turned out to be a good, just a good race. I'm going to put this on full screen so we can see it all. But yeah, the track held up. I'm in that red trailer. That's where I spent my time. The big double was easy. The track roofed up. This was that quad was a big passing spot. I really thought that the track was really good, and I think most of the people that I talked to really liked the track, and it held up very good. Like it didn't blow out. Wicked Weekend blew out quite a lot. This grooved up, and it was a good track. But here we see Mayfield, and Mayfield takes off, and he had Seth Van Dalen behind him. But man, Mayfield was pretty much dominant in Truggy and in Nitro Truggy, Nitro Buggy, and he had Truey. Whenever I see Mayfield show up with Truey, I'm like, I know shit's about to be serious. And man, he was doing 9-minute pits. And when you're doing 9-minute pits, you had a big advantage. You have one less stop in 45 minutes. And like Borak was fast too. I think Canas was doing 9 minutes as well. Canas won this race last year. But Mayfield, like you can see, like he came there to kick ass and take names, and he did. And Fen won e-buggy, but man, Mayfield kicked ass at this race, man. He kicked ass, and he said in his interview he was very happy with his Truggy. And I have to give another shout out because in the intermediate class, the young lady Mad Maddie Long, she won Nitro Buggy. She kicked everybody's ass in that, and I was happy for her. I personally think she is probably the best female racer out there. I'd love to see her and Jessica Paulson run the race, like in a female race. But that young lady at 15 years old has made impressive strides over the last 2 years. And she won intermediate Nitro Buggy at this race. And there I see Fen, and I'm thinking Fen's going to, I think it's at this point, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be a Fen is going to chase down Mayfield. But Mayfield is kind of gone. You can see him. He is just like, hey guys, hold my Coors Light for me. Don't let it get warm. I'll be back shortly to drink it. And great pits. It was fun too. So Danny and Lance, they've put on more loops, and Danny's made a program so I can see all the pits and what time they come in. And now Elite RC is also putting the pit times on there, so people can, that's becoming a thing. People are like getting into the pit stuff now. Like, so you can be the fastest pit. If Pekka was here, he would be like, I am the fastest, period. But I'll be honest with you, man. Mike Sontag's still one of the fastest pit guys out there. I think it was a good race to end the year, and I think it was a good finish for Mayfield. And a lot of people needed good finishes. A lot of people needed wins at this race, but it could only be one, and it was Mayfield who won this. So, I thought it was a good event. Let's see who all was in the end. In Pro Nitro Buggy, it was Ryan Mayfield taking the win, followed by Juan Carlos Canas, Borak, and Seth Van Dalen Feelong win. So I thought at some point Borak was going to be able to catch him, but Borak had, I think, the worst pit, like fuel mileage out of all these guys. And I'll be honest, like Juan Carlos Canas.
That's not a surprise the way he drives.
Yeah, I know. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, I think he might have been trying to do 9 minutes. I can't remember. It's been so long since that race happened. Someone's gonna be, he's doing my 9 minutes. Let me see if I can see his lap times here.
Yeah.
All right. I guess Max, what did you think of the track looking at it from the outside in?
Track was nice. I think one of my favorite AMS layouts in a while. I love that the one when Fend won it with the TLR. the one we covered on our show. That one was really good. Last year, not my favorite. I think the year before last year was my least favorite. Last year was okay, but I think this has been the best one I've seen from AMS in my recent memory. So, big kudos to Bobby. I really don't have any ideas how could I improve it. Maybe I do have to say that I think purely for safety reasons, big jumps in the front straight is not ideal.
But it was no problem.
No, I mean, sure, it was no problem, but I think the problems come when there's like a flame out, not when it's like when it's like the racing's going on, but like when someone flames out on the left side of the track, it's really difficult to see to the other side. So I think as a general rule of thumb that I live by, you just don't put big jumps in the front straight. But I get it; it's America. It's not an issue there, but I think for me and for in general in Europe, that's kind of a no-no. And the same thing with that track in Madrid. I never enjoyed the fact that they have those jumps in front straight because it makes it so much more tough to be on the track as a marshal. But I mean, I get it, and Americans are gonna disagree with me because freedom, but it's just my point of view. And the track was like really nice. I like the quad. I think that was really good. Sort of, it's a way to be precise with your jumping and rhythm, and that's the right way to do it, in my opinion. Yeah. Overall, the track, I really don't have anything bad to say about it. I do have to say, I didn't follow the racing much less than in the previous years, and I'm kind of I know that the whole AMS thing is kind of what JQ wanted, the Super Bowl and so on. But I think, for example, now Kenna started from 12th on the grid, and I think that's the main reason. So Kenna started from 12th and ended up 8 seconds behind Mayfield in the end. He had faster best lap. He had faster top 5. In all metrics, he was faster than Mayfield. Very close, I might add, very close. And I think Mayfield was the deserved winner. But at the same time, I'm a bit like this was my I don't know if I've said this critique before, but my critique towards the Super Bowl is the fact that it kind of the whole point of qualifying is nullified, like you run a day of qualifying and then there's a race to kind of take it all away. So I don't know, that's just my thing about it. And you can say that, oh, this was JQ said. Yes, I know that's what JQ said, but I even disagreed about this with him back in the day. I think it's much better to either do less qualifying with seeding style qualifying or 2 rounds of it and then do a Super Bowl, or then just do like longer like bump ups, like have more chances to bump up. For example, I have this sort of double bracket thing that I've been kind of trying to push into EFRA, which is not going to be implemented in any way because it's EFRA. They need 5-year transfer period for that. And there's other ways to make the bump ups more like longer and have more racing. I don't think the Super Bowl is the best way to do it. I think the reason why we have it was because it was easy to implement. But I think that's sort of the next step the AMS format could do is to get rid of the Super Bowl and transfer the sort of format of the bump ups. And it's not a critique necessarily because I think it's pretty clear that by having this well-organized race format, they attract Europeans and it's worked exactly on the way they want. But I think now it's just the time to take the next step of development and see how that will do. Yeah, that's sort of my 2 cents from the race and the racing. I still, in my books, I would like Wicked Weekend to be like this because I think then it would be like all of the Europeans would go because I think Wicked Weekend is the most enjoyable looking event And then if you just had this format, I think it would be the best. But I mean, that's just splitting hairs at this point. I think very positive vibes about the event overall. In that sense, I can comment on the racing side of things in a bit, but I feel like I've spoken for quite a bit, so I'll throw it back to one of you two on what you think, because
I have some rebuttal for that, but I want to hear Will's thoughts. I don't know if you paid attention to it much, but go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I paid attention to it a little bit. I think this kind of comes back to what Max was saying about the jumps from the rostrum, but it was more like who was the guy that sent it in it? I'm guessing it was eBuggy. I really wanted to talk about that because I thought like I don't know if that was just like a one-off classic. Couldn't think of anyone else, but I wasn't sure like was that a racing line at all, or was that just like
Robert did it in a racing?
Just sending it.
Robert did it.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, really?
Bracken just did it because he was having fun.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure like were people doing it every lap, kind of thing.
All right. Continue, Will, and then I have some rebuttals to Max's comments.
Yeah, no. All I was just saying is just were people doing that every lap, or was that just like a
no. It was like pull it out of your ass. Robert actually made a good pass on it. So I'm not a big fan of rhythm sections on jumps on front straights, like what Joey likes to build, right? I don't like that, and I also don't like. I didn't like the Dragon's Back that we had at Wicked Weekend because it was very hard to marshal and stuff like that. Now I had my worries about this track, about this jump, but realistically, this jump caused probably zero problems the entire weekend. Why? Because it was a jump that sent you up, and you actually had to scrub speed to do it properly, right? So you come ring it on, and before the straightaway, it's not smooth because I've walked the straightaway. It's very wavy and there's some bumps and stuff like that. So you hit this jump and you scrub speed and to land perfectly. That was the best line, like the double and then go off. It was like a drop off. So it was not many problems with that. And there was like nobody jumping into pit lane. There was somebody that jumped into pit lane, but it was a runaway car that came screaming across the straightaway, hit the side of that big double and went whoop. And you just saw the car go whoop right across somebody. So that was fun. I thought that worked out pretty good. As for the Super Bowl thing, I get your point. I just looked. Bull Rock started in 11th, and Juan Carlos Canas started in 12th. So I actually liked the Super Bowl because it was exciting, right? It had fast you had pit stops, you had fast 10-minute sprints. So I'm going to explain to people how it works so they know. Basically, there are 3 qualifiers that seed you into your Super Bowl race, right? Now, there's usually a C main. That's how much, because it's a cap race. So it's C main of racers, right? So if you're in a C main and you qualified, you win your C main, you bump up to the B main, which you'll do the next day. You don't bump up to this B main in Super Bowl. You bump up to the B main in the final. You get what I'm saying? Which will be on Sunday. And vice versa. For B main, you bump up there. And then they have 3 bump ups. They had 3 bump ups from each final on Sunday, right? Or whatever, each final. Now, I do agree that there has been talks about doing less qualifying and more like a seeding type of issue. So they seed people into the Super Bowl and possibly doing the Super Bowl like all on Friday instead of doing it Saturday. So there are considerations to do that. But what I would say to you, Max, is that doing this way is no different from doing it bracket style like they do in IFMAR. You can fucking TQ the Worlds qualifying, but still not make the Worlds, right? Because you didn't fucking in your semi. So it's no different. You could be fast all weekend, right? At TQ and be the top qualifier, but you can start pulling on your semi fucking break. And then next thing you know, you're in the LCQ and not in the final, even though you TQ qualified. So to that, I would rebuttal would be, I understand your point and I understand why people would say that. But for me, it's no different than having ladder mains, A and B mains and semis and all that stuff in IFMAR style racing. But what it does give is, so if we're going to complain about that, we're going to complain about that as well. But I definitely would agree that I think, and this I remember when this race started, right? And people were pissing and moaning about it until they actually went. right? And they saw how much track time you actually got. It is organized. It is a long race, right? It is a long race. You have to dedicate a lot of time. It's just like going to a DNC. You have to be there Wednesday because practice starts Thursday and stuff like that. But I will say that the atmosphere, I like the AMS. Okay, it gets a little dusty and smoky in there, which sucks, but it's a good event, man. And I really wish the Europeans would come to Wicked Weekend because Wicked Weekend is my actual favorite event of this, the venue. But it was a good, I think it was a good end to the racing year. I wish there would have been a little bit more exciting racing in the Nitro side of things. I think maybe, I know you have to be fair to everybody, but sometimes when you're doing a 45-minute Nitro, man, and it's just like nothing to call, it just gets boring, right? And I hate runaways and any type of, the only person that likes a runaway is the person that's running away with it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I think a good end to the year for that side of things. And when I say obviously we have other races coming up, but big national race. It's good to see the Europeans come over. I hope more come next year. And Max, you have something. You said I told you so. So we're gonna go into that. And no European. Once again, that was the last chance for a European to win on American soil. So you know what?
That is a good point. I think last year Europeans won more races in America than Americans, and this year the Americans came back. I don't know if they really got so disheartened last year that it was like, fuck, we gotta change things, or if like the Europeans were just weaker this year compared to the Americans. But yeah, good job to Mayfield and Fuller and Fend for defending America.
You know what this shows? Mayfield at almost 40 years old, these guys still can't steadily beat him. Still can't steadily beat him in the USA. That's impressive. Like, I'm not shocked that he won this. I'm just shocked at how dominant he was. Like, I mean, I'm not shocked at it, but I'm just like, I thought it would be more of a challenge. I mean, they tried to, but dude, like, Truey even has a pit glove. Like, it's a glove. It's got I was talking about it on the thing. I was like, look at that. Truey's got his pit glove. It's got the finger pulled, like where you pull the tank up. It's got that cut out. And dude, I'm telling you, pitting has always been important, but it's fucking even more important now. And people are really like, the pit crews are getting into it because then you announce the times that they made. So they're trying to go faster and all this type of stuff. So it adds an element to that. But yeah, apparently he was running some new stuff. And we talked about this a little earlier, but it's the wide pivot. I assume it's a wide pivot and stuff like that. So anyway, Max says something here that he wants to.
Yeah, let me bring this stuff up. So
please don't take 20 minutes to explain this.
No. We're good. We're good, dude. So Mayfield, you said that Mayfield had told you that this was the happiest he's ever been with his Tekno.
He said in the interview, it's the happiest he's been with his Tekno this year. What do we have here? Do you want me to add it to stage?
Okay. Yeah, let me go full screen on this one so we don't need to look at it. So Jared Tebow released this like conversion kit on his Facebook. Basically what's going on with this is it's a truggy pivot. And I'm guessing this is the old arm. I really don't know because Tekno has like 0.22 is the new car, and the old one is the 0.2. So basically, it's the slightly older arms, wider pivot, and then standard hubs. So what this is basically widening the rear pivot, making the rear end. People want to say stiffer, but it's actually softer, so it rotates better, and so it doesn't stand up so much. It rotates better and sort of rolls off smooth from the corner. It doesn't look much different, but there's let me show you. There really isn't a good picture to show this difference, but like it is definitely further away from the gearbox, and then there's a shorter arm. So yeah, this is basically what I I'm pretty sure they did the Mayfield as well, not only Tebow, but most of the Tekno team. This has been something Mayfield's been wanting on the car since the 2024 World Championships in Redovan. So it's been a year coming now. They finally got these parts on their cars, and Mayfield says he's happiest he's ever been with the Tekno. And adding on to this one, they also came up with lower shock towers. They already have this at the Worlds. Now JDP releases this on his own website, but they already have
They're
this
not by JTP.
at the
They're not
Worlds.
by JTP. They are by
No. The
One Army.
Yeah,
One
yeah, yeah.
Army.
But
Man.
JTP released this on their own. Yeah, One Army name. So yeah, here we have it. It's basically just a lot more lower shock position, which is still not that low compared to other cars. It's relatively high, but it's a lot lower than the classic Tekno is. They had this at the Worlds, the Tekno team, obviously done by, I don't know if it was One Army or someone else, but not these ones, but similar ones where the shocks were lowered a lot. And then now they have the wide pivot. So yeah, that's basically what's transferred Mayfield from, I guess, struggling a bit to being the happiest he's ever been, which is, I have to say, for people like Fend and Van Dalen and Fuller, it's a bit of a scary picture when you think about it, like Mayfield getting better. Because he's still getting good results this year, even though he's been, I guess, unhappy with his car. And yeah, maybe he'll click into a next level now. But yeah,
He's still there beating these guys. They gotta beat him. In order to beat him, man, you gotta beat not just once, but consistently. And like another, I would say, I don't know what's going on with Fend. Like, where'd he finish? He did win e-buggy, but
yeah,
like you
Fend
expect.
Fend was 12th. Yeah, I think he had some issue in the main because he was running in the top 3, top 4, and then he just dropped down. I can't believe he would just drop down on his own. But he was basically running second until like 3rd of the race, and then I don't know what happened because
he might have flamed out. I can't remember. It's been so long.
I don't see a flame out in the laps
Me neither.
he's had.
I just didn't think he was on pace.
Yeah, but he on the beginning he was driving like 24s, and then after what this is like 20 minutes, after like 15-20 minutes, he just didn't have pace. He was driving like 25s, 28s, like really slow laps, 27s, like didn't even break into the 24s by the end. So I think something broke in his car.
On that track. It was a lot of cars on that small track. A lot of cars. But anyway, I'm just gonna go over your Pro Nitro Buggy top 5 or 10. We had Mayfield, Canas, Borak Killick, Seth Van Dalen, Phelan, Rivkin, Fuller, Tebow, semi-retired Tebow, still making a top 10. Ryan Lutz, Barkan Killick, Jonah Wilson, Dakota Fan, Badier, Rose, Bardon, and Miko Widmeyer. What happened to Rose? So I remember this incident. He came in for fuel, and what happens is that pit lane is, like, I was talking to Drake. He says that the bank for the pit lane needs to be raised, like where you put your car, the shelf to fuel it up. He says it just needs to be raised a few inches so cars can go underneath them because it's not high. So what happens anyway? Brandon Rose, something happened to him where he got hit on pit lane. He actually ended up off the pit lane and underneath it during the final, and that cost him a lot. But I would say another good event. And yeah, so another good event, and I enjoyed it. And it was long. All right. I think we're gonna have to do what you said in the private chat there, Max. We have to say that for another day. All right, let's move on to carpet championships. Then we're going to wrap this up, which was another big race. So back-to-back big races. Robert, Mika. I was kind of wondering why Burak didn't stay for this race, but apparently, I talked to Adam about it, and he said because Shin wasn't there. I guess they want Shin there to help him out and do things for him. But I thought it would have been perfect for Burak to come to this race and race. But then we went on to the Florida Carpet Championships, which were held November 13th to 16th at Cocoa, Florida at Beachline. This is the seventh iteration of this race. I've been there 4 times. And did I know Will followed this? Did you follow any of this, Max?
A little bit on Facebook mostly. And that was because of the fact that you was doing it. So I saw a lot of you online interviewing people. I don't know how it happens.
Not me.
I saw a
Not
lot
me.
of you.
Well,
you?
well, we
I
did it
saw
with
the
Ryan
one.
Charles.
I saw you interviewing some guy who was going on about people saucing. So
Oh, well, that was there. Yes.
yeah, I saw that one, and then obviously I saw Gideona was doing well. I kind of followed how he was doing, so I watched a few of the mains, but I've been, like I said, I've been really busy recently, so I haven't been so in depth, so I'm not gonna comment much, but I was really pleased to see our fellow Finn doing so well as he did, finishing second in the end in two-wheel drive.
He was the best associated there, him and Aiden Horn, to
Yeah.
be fair. But dude, so this race has happened a few weeks ago. If you don't know, it was two-wheel drive was Champlin, Hotman, Orlowski, and then it was Orlowski, Champlin, and Kovacic in four-wheel drive. But in the end, the overall went to Brock, and this is the second year in a row that he's won it. In stock, we had to have a shootout again between Aaron Mitchell and Nate Sutherland. So we had X-Ray versus Schumacher, and Nate Sutherland ended up winning that. So it was a good race, but I don't have to. We're not going to recap it. Maybe if Will wants to say a few things about it, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with Ryan Styles Harris. He brought a lot of knowledge to the race, like race calling, because he's a 10 scale guy. We had a lot of fun. This race has become pretty much the unofficial carpet world championships. I would like I said, I'd love to see some more people from outside of like Asia come over and race at this, like Koki Kata and all that stuff. But it was a good weekend, but it had some drama, and that came out at the end. And once again, congratulations to Champlin, Orlowski, and these guys, because they were just on it, just fucking fast, right?
Yeah, but on top of like Champlin and Orlowski, I think the very big storyline of the end of this year is the sort of the decline of these old big names of 10 scale. Rivkin
Like?
finishing 7th in two-wheel drive, Fend 4th in two-wheel drive, and in four-wheel drive, Fend 8th, Rivkin 9th. And when you look at the top, like, sure, Horn, you could say, is a bit of an old guard from America. Bit of a new guard from America.
Yeah.
But like Champlin, Schimmel, Horn, those are the consistently top 3 Americans currently. Sure, in two-wheel drive, something happened in Horn, which I'm actually not aware of what happened. But like when you look at overall in the things, those 3 seem to pop up more often than, Fend and Rivkin used to be the only 2 names in 10 scale 2 or 3 years ago. That's long gone by now. It's a very tight field in America, and it's the same in Europe. We don't have Bjorn Neumann anymore making big names. Lee Martin is fully gone from the FIA. Krag obviously is retired by now, but he's not there. It's really like, Jona, Orlowski, Kovacic. Widmeyer is still good, and Marcus Karup. He did not have a great FCC, but he's obviously sort of the number one name in Europe when it comes to like these big events. But I think Marcus's big downside is carpet. When you look at his results through the years, when it's dirt or when it's Astro, he's the top name. But even at EOS, he's very rarely the top associated driver. It's more often someone like Jona or Then one of the UK guys who finished in front of him in the carpet. So that's definitely a bit of an asterisk for Marcus. He did well in Sweden, but apart from that, he's never really showed his full potential in carpet, I think. But yeah, that's
Someone
sort of
you're not
my
mentioning.
run through of.
Kobovic.
I'm forgetting some. I mentioned him, but very shortly. But yeah, I think he has raised his level in a significant margin this year, and I don't know why, but I remember during the Worlds, I told you that now that Orlowski is kind of splitting himself into so many categories, Kobovic looks like they're like, at least from the European side of things, the top 10 scale name. Especially when you put together like dirt and Astro and carpet. On carpet, I think Orlowski is really, really good. But yeah, Champlin is definitely taking the number one name across the world right now. Winning on dirt, dominating on carpet, US national champion, all of that stuff. I think he's on a next level compared to some of these other guys.
I think he's the best 10 scale racer in the world at this moment. I said that already. Will, your thoughts on the carpet championships, and then we'll get into sauce drama and all that stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was as usual, it was a really good race. I think I actually think there was quite a lot of people kind of missing out of like I know a lot of our guys didn't go, but I think a lot of that was just due to like having the Worlds, so that was obviously a big expense for a lot of those guys. But I think that the track looked good, and like maybe I'm the only one that kind of thinks this, but I always thought that the track was a little bit too wide open, maybe. Like I remember 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was in one of Ryan's vlogs, he did it, and it was like a really technical track with loads of jumps. I kind of like thought that looked really cool, but I kind of feel like when you have the wide open tracks, it's easier to drive for sure, and it's better in the sense for everyone. But then I feel like it means you have to push so hard, and there's nowhere really to make time. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that. I don't know what you guys kind of think about that, but that was kind of my only kind of criticism. But even then, obviously, those guys did a fantastic job with like the track and facility. The only thing I guess is kind of leads into the next bit was like I remember watching Michael's car in practice, and it almost looks like it was squirming in sections. So the track almost looked quite low grip, which is really surprising because like normally like carpet, especially when carpet gets old, it can get bad, like, but not to that point. So like I guess like you were there, so you'll probably have a better insight on how the grip was, and I guess going into the rest of the tire stuff.
It's interesting you say the squirming thing because it's Ryan RSH actually brought it up. He brought it up, and then I was able to see it. When they would get on throttle coming in the corner, which that little squirm that caused them. It was a wide open track. They did put in features that they had pretty from previous years. This triple was actually the big in stock, which was the biggest problem, because people couldn't get through it. If you had a good motor, you could. But it was dude, somebody hit that wall so hard. Oh my goodness. Like all you heard was smack. Full chat. Right now we're watching Brock Champlin. This is A3. I think that's Brock. That's his new paint job. He still got so much more red in there. These cars look extra fast in video. This is my first time watching any of this back, to be honest. So Ryan Styles Harris was calling this race, and I went on and just did interviews for a little while, which was fun. This section right here, you had to be so tight, like on the pipe and going through her. And yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. A lot of people were not happy that didn't win, obviously. Even BT himself was not happy and didn't want to talk in an interview after he won something from a previous race where he made a mistake in the steers and no marshal got him because there was no marshal there. So he was upset about that. The person that you're talking about that had the interview was Ryan Rivas, actually our good friend Ty's friend. He's from up the Pacific Northwest. He did very well in stock at this race last year and was competing against some of the fastest here. So, all right. Otherwise than that, I thought it was a good event. We had some good battles between these guys. There used to be Hotman. I thought at some point Hotman was going to get this, man. I thought so. Like Hartman was he was like the fastest in there, period. And I was just like, oh, Max Peckham, they must be so proud right now. And you know what I said? I went up to guess what my first word to Yuno was? Baskahata.
Did he understand you?
He understood me. He goes, I said, that's the only Finnish word I know, Baskahata. He goes, you have to take a massive shit? I was like, yes. So that's a joke between Max and I. When we was at the e-buggy route, I was like, Max, I have to hurry up and go to the hotel. Can we please close up? Because I have to take a Baskahata. Very fast. A lot of surprising. Bada was off pace. A lot of guys off pace. I would agree with Will. It didn't seem to have as on the pro side, there were a lot of international guys, but on the regular Joe side of things, usually there's a lot more people coming from around the world. Wasn't this year, and I think also that comes to it's just such a busy schedule at the end of the year. And this is a long race. It starts Wednesday, right? It starts Wednesday. But let's get to the drama. I did talk about this on my live.
I want to talk about the track first because
okay.
I think Will brought up again a good point about the track being wide open. And I've before in this podcast often said that you need tracks to be more open to have better racing on carpet, because to have space on the track, you obviously need more space on the track, and to make passes, you need to occupy some of that space. But I do also acknowledge his argument that it was you have to be on like going full speed all the time on this track, and that's because although it was open and high speed, there was really no space to be made, so no sort of lines that you could take alternatively. So each corner, in some sense of way, was a chicane. So it was a left, right, and it was always like balanced that way. So there'll be no section where you could actually challenge the car in front, or even take an alternative line, except for after the front straight, that stair section. That was basically the only one you could take a slightly different line and not lose time. And especially on the right side of the track, that's ridiculously hard to follow someone on that type of layout. And I think that's something that is more important on carpet than on dirt, to make the track so that it's easy to overtake. We gave the same criticism to the track in Australia, that there really wasn't places to overtake, but on carpet it's even more difficult because the pace is so high that there's no time to outbrake someone or something like that. So that's like some criticism I'd give to the track that I think they've done better with in the previous years. And I definitely do think the wide open style of track that the Beachline builds every year is better, overall better for carpet racing. But you really have to remember to balance that with sections that you can take an alternate line with, instead of having this sort of chicane with chicane style of track, because that means that you always have to take the shortest line. When you have like long corners that go into a 180 or something like that, you can take an alternate line and sort of overcut or undercut someone, have a earlier or later apex, and that's how you create at least the possibility for an overtake. So yeah, a good discussion about tracks once more, because overtaking on carpet is hard, and we all know that. So you have to create those spaces in the layout. And also, I wanted to touch on Bada. I think the West Coast is really, really struggling due to the lack of carpet tracks on having the pace on carpet, because Bada went from being on the top of the world at the Worlds, and then later on to being almost nowhere in this event. And I think that's a big sort of a hole in the West Coast, guys, especially mostly Californian guys, I guess, because the high up north, they are fine, I guess.
All good points. All right, let me try this. I know we're trying to wrap this up, but let's talk about the sourcing and drama and all that type of stuff. So there's no source allowed here. There was an issue coming into this race where people were talking. This is all I heard coming into this race weeks before, is that the car, there's no grip there because they're using the old carpet. They're not going to change the carpet. So a lot of people were talking about that, right? that was a big topic coming into this race. First day of practice, people were doing donuts out there, like just donuts. It was, and they vacuumed the carpet. They did all that stuff prior to it, so it had no real grip. This is how now I've only been to a few carpet races, so when I got to see how less grip it was, I kind of chalked it up to also being quite cool that day because it was probably the coolest day that we raced on. But then people got progressively faster. But then I think about a day or two in it, you started hearing to people talking about their tires are coming off greasy, and stuff like that. And then JConcepts actually did have a compounder for that race, a new compound or like a prototype compound that worked good, but they had it in limited supply. Not even the top stock guys had it, only top pro guys, right? Hot Race was a very good tire here. Very good, right? They had the good compound. Another reason why you see Aidenhorn and Hotman doing good. They really had no problems with their compound at this race. It was very good, a very good tire. I would say that okay, they didn't get the big win, but for everybody that was on Hot Race, they did pretty good on the tire. So it was a good tire. Nicholas done a lot of work.
Wasn't they the most used tire in the main too?
Pretty much, if I'm not mistaken. Zorlowski was on it, and all those guys on it. So, because Zorlowski is sponsored by JConcepts, but he's open on tire, right?
Yeah.
But anywho, so obviously, here's my thoughts on it, and because I talked to we talked about it a little bit via WhatsApp. There's a no sauce rule, but there is no regulations to see if people are saucing. There's no way to tell, and I think this hasn't been a problem in years past because there's been traction, no need to sauce, right? But obviously, the track had less traction this year, and people started saucing. Did anybody get caught saucing? No. Were there accusations? From what I heard, and this is all rumors, from what I heard, I heard somebody said they saw somebody saucing in their car. I heard somebody say they went to pick up a car and nobody wanted them to touch it, and that's where a lot of this started from. Tires coming off greasy. Then people couldn't get those JConcepts tires because they were limited supply that they needed. So there was a lot going on about this, right? People accusing this person, these persons, but nobody wants to come out and say, hey, this person, like, officially come out and say it, right? And to be fair, there right now in RC, there's no way to really check if you're saucing, right? That's why if you're good to have a no sauce rule, usually it's like, I believe you have to have a tire compound and all this type of stuff and whatnot. They don't have that, right? So, and they do have a spec tire in I believe it's in the independent classes. They run a spec tire, but in all the other classes, it's wide open. Then somebody was saying, oh, well, Nate Sutherland in the shootout, he had yellow wheels on, so he had sauce tires. Well, what he had Brock Champlin's tires, right? They gave them to him because they needed the best thing that he could do. So Brock Champlin obviously had the good JConcepts tires, the special compound tires. He had those tires and he ran out on that. And he won, like they had a Super Bowl shootout to see who was going to be the stock winner. Look, man, if they're not going to check for saucing, it's very hard to stop people from saucing, right? You can't, look, if you cannot let an RC racer or any racer, I mean, this happens, I'm pretty sure this happens in other forms of racing too. Like, if there's an edge to be had, racers are going to take it, right? If nobody's checking for sauce, somebody's going to do it, right? People are going to do it. Were there people saucing at this event? I'm sure there were. Do I think the results would have been different if they weren't saucing? Maybe for some people, they would have been a little better up or in position. But saucing is not the reason why you're in the C main and that person's in the A main, right? Is it fair? Absolutely not. I talked to the promoters of the event going into next year. They're looking at having here's my thing. You either do one of two things. You either just make sauce legal and let people sauce, right? Or you have to actually control it and have a tire compound and all this type of stuff. And there is talks of everybody being on a spec tire next year and having a limited amount and having tires that you need, limited amount of tires and having your tires compounded and all that stuff. But I think because of the lack of grip that the carpet had, and understandably, I think they didn't want to change the carpet because it was very expensive to do. We're talking about $9,000-$10,000 for new carpet. And some of the locals there obviously have a little more advantage. JConcepts obviously been practicing there for months on end. That it's close by, so they were able to develop a tire for that. I don't condone cheating, but fuck, man, like if you're not going to police it, people are going to take advantage of it, right? And I get it. Some people have morals and they don't want to do it, and this kind of overshadowed a lot of what the great racing action on there. But I think definitely going into 2026, the organizers, if they're going to have a no source rule, they need to put, they are going to put regulations and stuff into it. But you know what I discovered? That 10 scale has way more drama than 8 scale. Because there's so many different ways you can cheat.
I just can't believe like the carpet was that low grip. Like, okay, like I obviously I get that, like, you know, you source on dirt, and I get that you source like with touring car because you run slicks, but like with pins, like, you know, sourcing pins on like that style carpet, like I'm way too European for that. Like I don't know how I don't know. I'm surprised that the carpet was that worn because I've raced on the CRC before, and like we had a track that used it for like years, but it never gets like that bad, like to the point where you ever had to like source, which is what I'm really surprised about.
So what happened
from my understanding, they only like replace it every 2 years, right?
I don't think they've replaced it in a while, from what I can tell.
It's only every 2 years, from what I got told.
And
yeah, go on.
I don't think this is the actual CRC carpet. I think this is their proprietary carpet as well. I could be wrong. But it was,
was it like this before the race?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
It gradually went to more slippery carpet.
So leading up to this race, that's all I heard about. How there was even a month before, there's no grip there. It's no grip because people are going there because it's a track. It's open. People are testing, right? And all I heard was how there's no grip. There's no grip because they ain't changed the carpet. That's all I heard going into it. And obviously there was no grip. So when there's no grip, people go to doing things like that. But I'm not condoning it. But I can see how easy it was to do that. But until you can, so if you're gonna say people are saucing, I look at it two ways. Yes, it sucks that people are saucing. I think you should have, if you think people are saucing, you should have went out there and sauced and tried yourself if nobody's getting caught. But they're like, no, the rules say you can't even clean your tires. But there's nobody policing that shit. There's nobody policing that stuff. You remember Neo back in the day had that sauce sniffer guy? And they said no sauce. I don't know if you went to that Neo thing, that Neo race, right? But yeah, definitely, I think I know the main culprit of why all this happened was because of the grip of the carpet. So going into next year, I know the organizers are going to do some things differently, and people are upset about it. But you know what, man? The people that win at the end of the day, the fast people were still fast. Okay, there were some differences. Like Dustin Fox was really fast for last year, not that fast this year, right? So, but at the same time, everybody has shitty days, shitty weekends. So, and Dustin is more of he's a very good carpet racer. But yeah, lots of drama, especially in that stock class. Woof, it's so much money involved up in the stock, like it's crazy. I don't really have much more to say about the event. That I still enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite events to go to. I met them. Congratulations to Brock Champlin, dude. That dude is just, and Schumacher. Like Schumacher has been on a tear, and I think what we're seeing is Schumacher working cohesively as a team to go forward. We saw that at the e-buggy Worlds, even not with their own cars, but we're seeing that here as well, and they're all working as a team to go forward. And man, Champlin was just on fire, and I think Orlowski needs a vacation. That's what I think. I think he needs a vacation from RC for a week. So I don't know. That's my final thoughts. Congratulations to everybody that won. I think we have the stock stuff. I feel bad for people that came and felt like people were cheating and stuff like that. But also, it's easy to say somebody's saucing when you're having not having the weekend that you think you should have, right? But I understand that you should be faster. You think you're losing time and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, kind of the cards played out how it's supposed to be. Like the same people that usually won, pretty much.
Yeah.
It comes down to that at the end of the day. Sauce or no sauce, or special tires or no special tires, the same people that are supposed to won. I would say X-Ray should be disappointed in the latter half of this year, how their year's been. They started out very hot and very good. And coming into this race, once again, biggest team there. I think it's Martin Hootie or Mario Hootie. I think it's Mario. Is it the other brother if it's two children?
I'm not sure. I think Martin is the most involved.
Well, he's also involved, but his children race, and they were there last year, and they came and raced again this year. And I had somebody even complain. This is the funniest thing. Somebody on the chat complained about this kid who's like 13 years old running in the independent class or something like that. I can't remember whatever class. Like, you're not supposed to have sponsors. I'm like, well, what do you expect the kid to run? His family earned X-Ray. Do you expect him to run a Schumacher?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Get off that. Like, what? Of course he's going to get. I mean, he's getting stuff free anyway because his freaking family earns the place. He's not on pace to be in this type of stuff. Like, they had a good event. Florida Carpet Championships was good, man. I enjoyed it. It had drama, but like drama, it's easy to make excuses why you don't do good at a weekend. You know, it's always somebody else. I think if you're not having a good weekend, you need to focus on why you didn't have a good weekend. Now, did tires play a role in this and sauce? Yeah, I'm sure a little bit, but like I said, at the end of the day, the fast people were fast, and the same people that win. That's my thoughts on it. I'm sure people in the comments are not going to agree with me, but it is what it is. We've been going too long. We're not even going to get into our AGM talk because that's a whole hour. So
yeah, I think we have to make an executive decision to people to do the sadness of the people to skip the AGM for this podcast. The thing about the AGM is it moves so slow, and EFRA in general, they move so slow that we could basically talk about this next year and it would still be 100% relevant. So just stay put. We're going to talk about it in the future. We still have a few topics we're going to go through, which is the 10 Scale Worlds location in 2027.
Yeah, let's end it on that.
Then we have a few sponsors we still need to give a video to, and then we have upcoming races. So
let's get into the possible location of the 2027 Worlds. What do you like?
Are you looking to take your ride-on car to the next level? ML Toys makes it easy with plug-and-play modifications like motors, speed and brake controls, and more. ML Toys is the one-stop shop to make your ride-on car the coolest car in the neighborhood.
Thank you to ML Toys for all you fathers out there with kids looking to hop up your Power Wheels toys. Check out ML Toys. All right, location of 27 Worlds.
I think, okay, this is now... we're kind of teasing our viewers here because we need to do the other segment first because we don't want to end on shouting out races.
Yeah, we do. We'll end on shouting out races. Let's get into this. Okay. So, Will, you've heard things. I've heard things. So basically, FARMAR once again, like this is the third Worlds that FARMAR has had to give up in the last 2 years. They gave up the last year's 8 Scale Worlds. They gave up last year's Touring Car Worlds as well. 8 Scale Nitro Sedan Worlds. 10 Scale Nitro Sedan Worlds, sorry. And then obviously FARMAR was supposed to have the 10 Scale Off-Road Worlds. But I kind of knew it wasn't going to go to anywhere in the FARMAR block because I don't think there's anywhere in FAMAR block where they race 10 Scale this heavily. So basically, IFMAR said each block besides FAMAR had 2 weeks or I think it was a month or 2. I can't remember. Anyway, they had a time limit.
Yeah.
Submit venues, and then they'll decide. I know there was a big push to put it back to Australia. I know that China GDC actually wants it. I actually think that if it does go to FEMCA, I think they're going to get it because I think they're going to push the most money in it. Will, what have you heard on the European side?
Well, I know Max has a list. So
Max has the
he's. I think I know
I'm
you
trying
said
to
you had a
bring it up.
list or something.
Well, I'll talk about the USA style. So I have heard through my sources, the tracks that have applied for it have been, I don't know who they've picked, but I know it's been RCCA in Spokane, Washington, SDRC, Hoosier, and Beachline have all put in bids for it, and a few more. I don't know who's getting it or who's they're going to submit, but those are some of the tracks that have submitted to it. What about you, Max?
Yeah, so I'll bring up the EFRA side of things. So I'm zooming up a bit. So these are, let me zoom it up a bit more. So these are the tracks that we have applied for the Worlds, and the way we're going to decide upon it, I don't know if this is going to be the final decision, but at least it's going to be a vote between the member countries. So we vote just like we would vote in the EFRA AGM about the countries. We're going to vote on them, our suggestion for the EFRA block choice. But I do still think that the EFRA board has the final choice for the IFMAR location, but I'm not entirely sure. It's a bit of a gray area in the EFRA rules at this point, like who has the final say, and like because the board kind of doesn't need to listen to the federations, but then again, it's a bit iffy. They asked for our opinion, and these are the countries we have to choose from, so or locations. So we have Estonia in Rakvere, which has never held a 10 scale race. You can see it here on the middle bracket, hosted at one international event. Then we have Reims, which hosted the 2018 Euros. Then we have Ongaro in Italy, never hold 1/10, but has held some 1/8. Then Pinerolo in Italy, which has held. Then we have this Romania venue, which has no venue facility yet, but they still applied. Apparently, they are building one. Then we have the Hoodie Arena, which obviously held the 2019 Worlds and 2025 1/10 Euros. Then we have Valladolid in Spain, which held the e-buggy Euros, as well as 2013 and 2016 1/10 Euros. And then we have Madrid in Fuencarral, which held 1/8 Euros next year, I'm pretty sure, if this is what they're referring to. And then we have Eskilstuna in Sweden, which are also applying. So if you look at these venues, there's Reims is indoor dirt, and Hoodie is indoor dirt, and everything else is outdoor, which at this this stage is mostly clay and mostly oiled or glued clay. And then we can see a whole bunch of metrics on which they have provided to EFRA from all these tracks, which we really don't care about. My guess is that there's pretty much 3 viable options, considering that they most likely will want a venue who's held a 10 scale event before. 4 options, which is Valladolid, Hoodie, Pinerolo, and Reims. The issue with this is that Reims was supposed to hold the Worlds last time in 2019, but the sort of preparation for the event and the organization for the event was so lackluster that EFRA made the choice to switch it to Hoodie. Pinerolo is pretty good. I have nothing really against them, but I think the location and in general the facility is a bit tough to hold a world size event, and the track is a bit weird size. Then Hoodie Arena in every way, it would be a good choice, but it held the last Worlds that Europe had. Valladolid, I think, is a good choice. I do like my time there, but it's similar to Pinerolo. It's kind of in between a 1/10 and an 8-scale track. It's a weird size. But because it's a vote, it will be really interesting to see what will happen. Obviously, a lot of countries in the northern side of Europe will vote to Rakvere in Estonia or Sweden, Eskilstuna. But I really doubt that they will get it. Southern Europeans are going to be very split because they have Spain and Italy, and then French have the French venue. So I think it's a real toss-up on what the vote will be. But then what will be chosen, I'm 99% sure the chairman, Paul Worsley, would choose Hoodie Arena. So considering the options at hand and the possibility, I really, really, really doubt that it's going to go to Europe. So I think it's going to go to China and so on.
Or USA?
I don't think it's going to go to USA. Unless there's some like IFMAR Roar relations that.
How about you, Will? As a person that's probably going to attend this race, where would you like it to be?
Honestly, I really think that China track deserves it. To be honest, like even like that indoor 8-scale track, I kind of feel even if they. So
That's
from
where it
what
would
I
be.
understand, yeah. So what I'm understanding is that they're gonna build a dedicated temp track in its whole area. But even that 8-scale track that they have, I think if they just change the layout a little bit, that'll probably be more than enough in itself. I honestly think they deserve it. Like I think that'd be a really cool Worlds to go to. I'm kind of the same with Max. Like, I think like if maybe A main hobbies like put in, then I would say like it could be a strong chance it'll be America again. But I don't know if. I mean, I haven't been to any of those. I've been to SDRC, but I don't know if that's kind of World's standard, in my honest opinion. Especially like the parking situation is pretty tight there. Europe, like I think Max has made a pretty safe choice, and I can see where it's coming from. I think that Estonia track, like it looks ace for 8-scale, but I think if they were able to make it a little bit smaller for 10-scale, that could be a really cool Worlds in itself. I mean, that Romania track, yeah, if it's not even built and they can't provide any like kind of mock-ups or idea of it, then I think it's hard for them to get one. Pinerolo, I could kind of see being one. I've actually been there, and I think if they made the track a little bit smaller, I think it could be. I think that could be it could be like just enough for Worlds. I think Ream, I kind of feel like I don't know the USA had kind of destroyed a lot of their hopes then, but I don't know the track's still the same, but so I'd hope they would change it. Hoodie Arena, it's like a very safe bet, but I think they would have to change the layout completely at least, in my opinion, and then Valladolid, like. Is actually, I think it'd be a good 10-scale track, but because it's like, it's not like a rectangle. The track is almost like a triangle. So I think like it'd be like a really weird layout. What they'd have to do, I think it'd be a good, cool track, but it would be a bit of a weird one. And then I think there was a Sweden track, but that's an. Am I right in thinking that's like half Astro, half dirt, but also it's like an 8-scale track, and I don't think it'll. Yeah. I don't think that'll work for 10th. So that's kind of first choice is definitely the China track, and I think they probably deserve it. And then the second choice, like as a safe bet, probably would be Hoodie, but I would rather see another track kind of get it from EFA if it was possible, just to mix it up, really.
So yeah, what about the thoughts of it possibly going back to Australia? I mean, not that. I think we learned going back to the same spot isn't the same the second time around. When we
don't get me wrong. Like Australia, the way they did it was epic, and that's by far like one of the best events I've ever been to. Period. I just don't know how I feel about going back there again. Like especially that it's so far, for so many people. And then it's kind of the same with Redovan. Like I felt like Redovan the first time was awesome, and then the second time it was still great, but it just didn't have the same vibe. And
I would agree.
Like, everyone had been there before and knew what was kind of happening. So it kind of felt like just almost like a DNC you do every year kind of thing. So, but I think it'd be nice to be just somewhere else mainly.
Yeah. My thoughts are, if it goes to FEMCA, I'd like to see it go to that China track. And I think I think they're going to put the most money into everything or sponsor everything. And that's going to tickle IFMAR fancy. So I have a strong feeling it's probably going to go there. But I can see Beachline hurling it. They have a 12 scale Worlds. Obviously, this is a little bigger, but they have enough space to hold it. They hold one of the biggest races. They have a very big race every year. We just talked about it. Never been to SDRC. Hoosier could do it. Hoosier could do it too. I don't know about RCCA. I believe I would agree with you. I think somebody like A-Main could do a really good job at this as well. I don't really care what type of surface it is at all, to be honest. I'm open to any surface because it's no big deal to me. I kind of feel the same way about Australia. I think they did a banging job. It was an awesome race. I enjoyed it. I wasn't there, but I too don't think that the 20 last year's 8 scale Worlds were as like that. Wow, like that. Like we already went to Redavon, and we've we already went there, and to go back there, I just think would kind of be the same. And I think it's probably going to go. And I don't know if I really wanted to go to Hootie, even though they do a good job and it looks like a great place. But we've seen so many big races from there, right? And I agree with you. If they goes to Hootie, they need to tear that fucking track up completely and put on a new one. And it's going to be glued dirt as well, which I have no issue with. But I like to see it go somewhere different. I personally think it's gonna go to either China or somewhere in USA. Personally. And I think the USA option will be probably the best for everybody because it's pretty like Europe. You got Europe and Asia on this side, and it could come right in the middle. But we shall see. I guess let us know in the comments where you think it's gonna be and what type of surface you want to see it on. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We should be knowing her shortly, I would assume. Which tracks? I hope they're very. I wish they would be clear with everything. Like these tracks applied for it. We chose this track because of this. That's what they need to do. That's what I would like to see. All right. But let us know in the comments where you would like to see this track and what you would like to do. And like I said, it's nothing against Australia. I just know that I went to both Worlds at Redavon, and 2022 was much more like a wow figure than when I went to 2024. And I would like to see it at a different place, to be honest. And I like China too. I like the China facility. Looks great. And I think they have the most money. So they have the money to spur. And IFMAR wants to make some money. So they will do it. But I think China would be one of those races where I think a lot of people might not go because they're nervous to go to China. Mostly Americans, I would say, because I see not. Because I say this because Raw just announced that they're opening up spaces for the touring car worlds there next year, and I could see the comments already from people. Oh, it's not safe, and it's not this. And then you have EA, the president, is like, it's perfectly safe. Like, don't believe everything you see on.
As a European, I'd much rather go to China than America right now. Like, I think Americans don't really realize from our standpoint, America looks really dangerous to go to. Like, there's people. There was this Norwegian guy who was like kept at the border and like had to be shipped back, and he was held in detention for a while when he went there, just because he had some meme on his phone. And like, from our point of view, America is much more dangerous than China at the moment, which is crazy to say.
Yeah. That's your opinion, and just like they have their opinions about China, maybe yours is bias some stuff too. I'm just saying.
No, my point is, I would still go to both, but my point is, like, from like an outside America perspective, like when you compare America and China, it's pretty even, and I'd even rather go to China than America.
I cannot agree with you on there, but I get.
Yeah, because you're in America all the time. I understand that,
but I think that would affect people going to it, just from the comments that I saw from the Americans about going to China next year, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody's like that. So time will tell, and we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty open to wherever it goes. I'd love to go to any of those places to go to it. To be honest, I love to go to a 10 scale Worlds. All right. Enough about that. Let us know where you think it's going to go. Upcoming races is brought to you by Sidewinder Fuel. Morgan Fuel is collaborating with many. I know somebody else that's collaborating with them right now, bringing out some fuel. Morgan Fuel has been collaborating with many of the world's top drivers for over 35 years. This has enabled us to test their fuels in many of the most challenging situations to take development of combustion fuels to the next level. The result is Sidewinder, the market's most powerful racing fuel. The fuel has been track tested and proven by world champions like Ryan Cavallari, Ryan Mayfield, Greg DeGondi, Pavitas, and their top driver now is Fee Long Win. These drivers appreciate that Sidewinder is blended perfectly for the high-performance needs of competitive racing. Don't let victory slip through your fingers. Purchase Sidewinder today. If you're interested in it, let me know, and I will put you in contact with them. Upcoming races we have going on right now, U.S. Indoor Championships. I think this is the 5th version of this. They got the on-road side going on this week, and then next week is the off-road side. We have the IFMAR 8-scale Nitro on-road GP World Championships going on in Cash down in Chile, where they had the GT Worlds about a month and a half ago. Hoping they got a little better turnout than they did. That's happening November. It started yesterday.
They'll go for a week.
Yeah. So that goes from November 27th to 7th. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be halfway through. We have Fall Brawl, December 4th to 7th, happening at Lake Waccamaw, North Carolina. That's going to be a big race coming up. It's going to have a lot of entries. Then we have the U.S. Open, which is happening at Adobe, and that's happening the week after. Then we have Christmas and off, and I would say New Year's, but not for 10 scale races because they got to go to the Clash at Hoosier, which starts I think the 30th or 31st. I can't remember. Then Silver State, January 7th to 11th. Southern Indoor Championships is SIC January 30th to 1st. That's the same day, same week as the TNR race. Montpellier Outdoor Nationals. I'm going INS. INS is after SIC. I also have Beast of the East, which is coming up, which is the week after Silver State. So these guys don't get much rest, dude. It is a couple weeks off and then back on the grind. It's so many races.
I think it's bad. I think there should be like a grace period, like 2 weeks before Christmas and 2 weeks after Christmas. No racing whatsoever, like big races. I think the first big race should be allowed to be on like 15th of January.
Dude, it's so many races out there. It's hard to put a date in. And anybody who thinks that these RC guys don't work hard when they're traveling to all these races, try traveling to all these races and see how it works. All right. I think that's all that we have to offer today. Before we shout out, thank you to Dollar Hobbies for all that. You can save up to 10% off your order at Dollar Hobbies by using promo code Lefty in all caps. Max, Will, once again, a very long podcast that actually took 2 days to record, thanks to me, because I ran out of electricity the first day. We'll have to get together and do the AGM talk. I don't know if Will wants to be involved in that. He can if he wants. It was good to sit off and he says, shaking his head, so I'm sure he has some stuff to say. And he is European, British.
Yeah, I'll come on board. Let me know when. We'll do it.
We'll do a whole, because Max has a plethora of notes about the AGM, by the way. And so
the reason why I think it's a good point is this podcast sort of started off by criticizing all the federation. We said F-Ray shit, we said Roar shit. You ran for IFMAR president. That's the OG podcast days. And I think I
did not officially president, but
you had the whole Facebook page. It was a whole thing.
Like you did all of that.
Own up to your past, dude. You was part of the resistance. And then you started playing all buddy with the Roar guys because they was your friends. But you've decided that everything sucks again, but now you've just stayed quiet. And I think it's time to bring that old energy back and give
I'm just not wasting on time. I'm not wasting time on things that's going to take 10 years to change. I want to see change now. So that's my goal. But I
That's
definitely
the
want
lazy man's. That's the lazy man's answer.
No, I just working on other things. I don't. For what I have in mind, I don't need them because they'll benefit. So it doesn't matter. I will use IFMAR, IFMAR, and RAW for what they do. They put on races that I like. For taking RC, IFMAR's, dude. IFMAR is in such a better position than what you think. But I know it's not about. I know it's about going to the media and money and all that stuff. We'll get into that. I have no problem getting into all of that stuff. I just don't have no hope with. I lost all hope with them. They're great for their races, but that's about it. I don't. The taking of RC to the future is not going to happen for the federations. And I already discovered. I already figured
they're
out.
holding us back. That's my point.
Not if you have,
I don't want them to take us forward.
By them. I'm not guidelined by them. You are because you're used to rules and all. You know what? We're going on a tangent. We got to end this. Let's save this.
Okay, I have to say this.
Yeah,
no. Let's save this energy.
I have to say this.
Jesus.
I have to say this. The reason why we need to go to the resistance is because we have, back in the day, you and me was like, this federation needs to take us forward. Then we was like, okay, it's not going to happen. Will never happen. Okay. And I think now the thing is, I think they're holding us back. Okay. We don't need to get rid of them, but they're holding us back. And I'll expose to you why that is happening, especially in Europe. In America, not so much. But in Europe, it's especially happening. And I'll tell you why.
Probably in Europe, but it ain't holding nobody back in America. The federations are, if not holding anybody back in America. But we'll get
Americans are doing that themselves.
We'll get into that.
So the next episode could be pretty juicy for the sound of it.
Yeah, because Max was messaging me like, and I said, well, real life, buddy. I said, welcome to real life. Shit don't change. It just goes through different hands. So just do your own thing. Anyway,
and I'm not concerned about the changing. I'm concerned about them holding us. Okay? And I'm going to expose you why. You know, you're undermining my message here. That's why I gotta interrupt you, because they're holding us back in a way you can't even fathom. Okay.
Good. We'll talk about it on the next one.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed a OG geek out like this once again. And thank you guys. We look forward to 2026 coming up fast. We got a lot of shows. I hope you enjoyed the Robert Battier podcast that I dropped on Friday. Enjoy it. We'll see you guys later. We're going to do a Christmas show. So, Max, I have to ask you this. Are you going to be my little Santa's elf for Christmas?
I guess. No other choice, you know?
You bailed on the last few shows. So, we're going to do a Christmas show. We're going to do giveaways this year. And hopefully, people will watch the show and then send me their address. And then we could give them away some stuff. Because I'm not doing it for you. Like, if you think you want something, go watch the show and let me know if you want something. Send me your address. Well, we're going to do that. We're not going to have a whole bunch of prizes, but we're going to give some stuff for me. We're going to do a live show. I don't know when it is. It's going to happen sometime in December.
Hat. And I'll have my elf hat, okay?
And you got to get a new Santa hat. And you need an elf hat. And maybe we'll have Will. And I don't know who else.
I will celebrate the birth of my Lord and Savior. Any day of the week.
With that, we're gonna end this podcast. Thank you, everybody, for the continued support. Shout out to the NNRC squad around the world. We greatly appreciate you guys' support. Thank you to the patrons of the podcast, as well as the YouTube members. If you wish to support the podcast a little extra, you can. Links for that in the written description of this podcast. Shout out to all these sponsors that make this possible. JConcepts, Hitec RC, Sidewinder, Fuel, Tire Racing, Visible Speed, ML Toys, Side Piece Racing, Dollar Hobbies, Get Shit Done Coffee, Elite RC Productions, RC Project, Mayako, Tekno RC, Beach RC, Clinic RC, Racecraft, and Fly Sky. Thank you guys for all the support. Links for them in the written description. Before Max really gets us in trouble, I'm going to end this podcast from Max, from Lefty, Will, and Middleman Max. Middleman Max getting back in prison, putting him back in his cell, not letting him out again because he tears the ass out of everything. We'll see you all later. You guys have a good weekend. Have a good weekend of racing. Max, say goodbye to everybody like a good little elf.
Goodbye.
See you later.
See you later, guys.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Thank you guys for your support.